through the game was by playing with other people. And if you had not like very low fame and not very high fame, it meant you didn't really interact with people. And that meant that the only way you can do that is if you're just off in a map on your own botting, basically. That's the only way you can get to a very high level, is if you just completely cut off from people. And that's why, like, somebody who got to your level and had like 10 fame or had like 1 fame or something was like 100% guaranteed. Red flag. Like, biggest red flag, immediately hacker. But now, you can get to like 275 and not having met another person in the game. Well, I mean, that's an EU, I guess, but that's much in NA. But like, not really interacting with people. You don't even have to be in a guild. You know, you just grind it out yourself and have like a few fame. And it's not like that at all anymore. And I think that's one of the big telling factors that kind of shows how much the party aspect and the community aspect is kind of like left the game, right?
It's become a single player game a lot, to be honest. I tried talking to a lot of people in Genesis some days, and because of my haircut, I look like Sonic. So I literally have blue hair and look like Sonic. I just got bullied because Hayatos are fast, can move fast, and just talking about running away from my problems and everything. I just stopped talking to randoms.
I mean, well,
like
you're talking to Genesis, so that's already a specific type of people, you know?
Yeah, true.
You talk to the Henehos, you're gonna get a specific response. All right. Well, so let's get your session started. So, what can I do for you today? What are your main questions? Do you have any?
Questions, I haven't really thought about questions. I just decided to like go into this.
Okay. And if something pops up, you just let me know.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, I'm Hayato. Leveling should be fairly easy, which was I was getting like 40% totem through 240 to 250, and then it just slowed down to 20%. That's just probably obvious because of the update, the new update and all.
Baby time.
But I'm getting 20%. I'm getting I've always been kind of getting bullied because I'm not getting enough XP. This and that. 255, I'm getting 30%, and I wasn't making that much. I was like 230, level 230, and just going to 240 and stuff. And it's the same reason again. People making like 30%, 250 to 255, and I'm just getting 20. It's just like really, kind of dismotivated.
And like when you hear that, like do you just get demotivated, or do you like ask people like, well, what do you guys do? What can I do better? Or
so I ask what they have on, obviously, like Legion, what's your EXP on, Obtain, Hyperstat, you got Gold Potion, Pendant. I got all of those, basically. So I don't know what's the big difference, to be honest. That's out of the point.
Well, no, that could be part of it, right? I mean, wanting to progress and wanting to move through the game, and you know, making sure like you're kind of like, you don't need to be like #1 at everything, but you also don't want to feel like you're fucking up, right? That's not really good for your mental. So I don't know if you know, one of the main things that could be going on is if it's just a Hayato versus other classes thing, right? Because you would expect to get really good rates at Hayato because you could just like spam your AoEs and shit. But are there other Hayatos you've talked to and kind of checked like where do they train, what kind of maps do they do, how do they rotate through the maps, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've actually asked some Hayatos, not like professional Hayatos, but like I've asked them how to rotate. At one point I wasn't looting my mesos, so I was getting lashed out because of that, so I'm not making much meso.
Well, that's a difficult one where you have to like choose like to which extent do you focus on looting the meso, because the people who are getting the best of the best rates are probably not looting everything, and the people who are looting everything are not getting the best of the best rates. Like there's a middle ground that you have to be okay with, right? And sometimes you can be like, okay, well, I want to train, but I'm mainly trying to make money and I want to get a decent amount of experience as well. So you pick a map where the experience isn't the best, but it's easier to rotate to loot. And then another map can be like, okay, now I want to just like go hard and train because I want progress and I want to get to 255. I want to do bonus damage on hard will, that kind of stuff. I was like, well, now I'm going to go to a map that is a little harder to loot, but I don't care because I'm mainly here for the experience, and I know the experience is better.
True. So I've been farming in Village 2, and I'm getting like 800 mil per totem, and like now I'm set, like I said, 20% per totem. I might switch to VC3 since I think it's more mobs, higher level, so more EXP. I'm just trying to get to
More
Lamina
crowded.
so I can start. Yeah, it's a lot crowded as well.
Yeah, everyone
I'm trying
trains
to get
there.
to
And,
Lamina.
yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And are there any maps? Because that's what I'm thinking right now. Are there any maps in Labyrinth that might be good for you? Because Labyrinth gets overlooked a lot of times because people are like, oh, VC3, LH2, LH6 maybe as a Kana, and then it's like Limina. And I feel like a lot of people kind of skip over Labyrinth, and as a result, a lot of Labyrinth has got like really high burning these days as a result.
So I think there's only one map for Hayatos that is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's bottom left of the labyrinth. I'm not sure. I tried training there without a totem just to check it out for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a lot of work to be honest. Way more work than LH2.
Yeah, that could be
And
another
it's kind
thing.
of weird.
Yeah. So that could be a factor as well, right? So you're like, okay, I'm willing to put in the time. I want to get really good experience rates. Then you focus on that, and then I'm like, I want to just have a map that's easy to rotate. I want to just do like a bunch of hours, get decent money, but not really worry about my experience too much. And different maps do different things. The problem with like going a little bit too much off of feedback is like you'll hear one person who's making like a lot of money, you'll hear one person who makes an insane amount of experience, and you'll hear one person who managed to combine the things very well, and you're seeing that as like that like everyone has got it better than you. Now, you know, it's kind of like the social media effect, right? It seems like everyone is leading these perfect lives, but in fact, these are just like snapshots of the most perfect situations for everyone and the crazy things that one person is doing, but they cannot have. It's possible that they don't have anything other special going on in the next 20 years, but there's going to be like 100 other people who have got like a bunch of stuff going on, and as a feedback, it's very easy to misinterpret that as like everyone's doing all this crazy shit, and I'm just here, like very mediocre, maybe even bad with my rates. If you're making more than 800 or like around 800 mil an hour, that's very good money. If you're getting 20% an hour on a totem, there might be some things that we can work on. I would say one thing would definitely be just, do you ever do battle analyses in the different maps and kind of just check out the rotations and check out the rates just to kind of see for yourself?
I used to do that. I'm not sure. I've been trying to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but still leveling is not like one of my main priorities right now.
Mm-hmm.
I started to get a will party. Haven't run it yet, but practice sometimes. It's a pretty easy boss, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
If you know everything, you get teach properly. It's quite simple.
So you're doing normal
So,
will first? Or
yeah, of
yep,
course. Yeah.
yep. Well, I don't know. Some people are like, well, I'm 250. I could do hard will now. And then they get rolled. So I always advise people to try normal will a few times until you can do it with your eyes closed, basically, and then move into hard will. You have a way easier time learning hard will then.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're doing that.
Goals. So basically, when I was like 210, 220, I started this Hayato like 2 or 3 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago, this Hayato. Or 3. So it was when I had compensation, I have everything, 3 times coupons and everything.
Mm-hmm,
So my main goal was to solo Lotus, like basically solo Lomin, and then I'm a solo Lomin, I'm gonna just dip out of this game, that's it, that's my life goal. And it didn't have, like I soloed Lomin and I was ecstatic, I was happy, but then I was like, I'm trying to reach for some more. And then I said to myself like, I think I'm gonna just go solo H-Lucid. That's my next goal basically.
Yep.
I don't know. It feels I have to push a lot to be honest. I might need to aim for a smaller goal first, but like still.
Yeah, I think it's good to have like a long-term goal that keeps you motivated, and you want it to be far enough to be motivational, but not too far to be demotivating. So it is. And if you notice that it might become a little bit demotivating because you might have bitten off a little bit more than you can chew, it is good to put some intermediary goals on the way up there that you can use as like a check mark to be like, okay, I can do this, so I've made progress. I can do this, so I've made progress. That's probably a good idea to do. Do you feel like you have some of those goals, or can I maybe help you set some of those?
I don't know. Not sure, but I decided to like solo H-Lucid because I don't know if you know this guy. This guy's name's Hunter. So I saw his H-Lucid solo on YouTube, and I just thought it was really crazy. He does so much damage. I think this was before the damage cap. So I just got inspired and trying to.
Was this on
It
Reboot
just looked
or?
clean. Yeah, Reboot.
Right.
I think he's the #1 Hayato player in Reboot.
And you had to use like
best
the different skill for more lines output and shit. You have to use like the mobbing skill.
I think people used to do that,
Yeah.
but not anymore.
Yeah,
'cause
before
of
the damage
February.
cap, I mean, yeah.
Before the
Mhm.
February patch, our main Rai skill got buffed to 8 attacks.
Yeah.
So basically 8 lands
Yeah,
before.
yeah, now it's not close anymore, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't need to really do that. And now the damage cap is removed too, so there's no point in using that.
So do you have specific goals from like, because he was probably pretty close to clearing it, right? Because not a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I cleared it, I have like 15 seconds left.
Yeah.
So do you have like a little bit more specifically an idea of how far you need to get to be able to get to that point where he was? Like, do you know what his gear was like and what his setup was like? And
I think I had a picture of his gear actually. But then, yeah, I think I had a picture of his gear like a few.
Well, you said it was
ago.
on YouTube, right? Maybe he has a YouTube video with his equips.
Yeah, let me see.
Was his name Hunter?
Hamtoru.
Oh, Hamtoryu, right? Yeah. Hard Lucid Soul.
So he does actually have a gear video.
For the
his YouTube channel is Dookie. Yeah, this one.
Oh yeah, Dookie. Yeah, okay. This is for the Liberation Quest. That one.
I'm not sure. It might have been another one.
This one is from April 10th, 2021.
Oh, I also insane. I saw the video. Let's see what it's called. Hayato breaks dummy in 40 seconds. That was insane. That's probably the first person I saw that just broke the dummy before the damage cap increased. So it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I see he's working at 95 mil. Wait, why is Hayato's mastery like garbage or what?
What do you mean?
Well,
damage?
No, like the mastery.
Mastery?
Do you only have 60% mastery?
What do you mean by that? 60%?
Well, I'm seeing his damage range here, and it's from 60 mil up to 95 mil. So
nah, this is without stacks basically. So our stacks increase final damage a lot, and then damage just goes to 9 nines.
Yeah, but the difference between the minimum and the maximum shows that you only have like decent combat orders increasing your mastery to 62%.
Oh yeah, Hayato has no mastery skills now.
Oh, that's wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of dookie because like a lot of characters actually have 90% and go over 90. Well, not a lot. Sorry, most characters at 70, and then they go a little bit over with combat orders. But there's quite some characters with 90, but you guys are stuck at 60. That's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, we're kind of weak when we don't have stacks.
So yeah, well, this is crazy also to see like the see 95 mil range, and he has 6% final damage, so he doesn't have anything stacked here.
Yeah.
And it's 60k stat obviously. It's at 800% damage without like bursting stuff yet.
I think we jumped to like 130 final damage with 5 stacks, and then Sakano's blessing just like 160.
Yeah, Sakano's blessing is pretty disgusting on top of that.
Yeah, you can check probably the 3rd stage. And just see how many seconds he has, but
yeah, he shows some stuff at the end, I guess. I'm not sure he shows any
gear, matrix, familiars.
This was in April. Oh wow, he actually did have roughly 15 seconds left because he's like capping on everything.
Oh wait, he actually did well.
Yeah, 10 sec, a little bit more than 10 seconds left. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're you want to be Hunter 2.0? That's what you're aiming for?
I'm not trying to be Hunter 2.0. I'm trying to be better than him, of course.
Okay. So we need like 400% boss damage. Well, the thing is, you should be able to get stronger than he was, like at the same point, always, right? Because of the progressive power creeping in the game, right? But by the time you get there, he'll be way stronger than he is now. But
he'll have like what, sacred power, what it's called.
Yeah. Dude, sacred power is slow as hell though. Don't worry. Don't worry, you won't be too far behind.
He definitely missed some days, you know. Okay, so I checked. He does actually have a quick video. I don't know. That's probably everything 22s and everything.
Oh yeah, I think he got 22 full arcane as one of the first people. I think.
Oh damn. Wait, when did the Hayato came out though? 4 or 5 years ago?
I don't know exactly. I don't. So I know like a lot of stuff about the game, but I don't keep like a timeline at all. I have no idea what any update was called anywhere or when stuff came out. I have no clue. I have to Google all of that if I really care. It's just information that I don't really retain.
Because I tried, I think, Hayato like a few years ago when it just got released. It was pretty bad. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
It
most
didn't have
classes that don't
double
exist.
jump.
Yeah, most classes that
think
don't
they have one
exist in KMS, like the way they get altered and the way they get helped and stuff is always too late, and there's like a lot of bugs you have to play around. Even now, right? Like if you hold down the key a little bit too long for the 5th job skill, you just crash your game. If you don't tap the skill, right? Because it tries to activate multiple times.
Did
And
you
then
just?
the red slash thing.
Ah, no, it's fixed. It's fixed.
Oh, they fixed it. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
But,
it
like,
only happened when he had low ping. I mean high ping.
High
Only
ping, right.
found out like 2 days before the patch.
Okay.
So I held it down. I could basically one tap
Right,
Princess
right.
Snow with 20k.
But there was
stat or
also the thing
something.
where up jumping sometimes DC'd you, weapon aura sometimes DC'd you. There was a time where if you used that big full screen sword attack while you were in the attack mode, that would DC you because there was too many lines, right? I mean,
Yeah.
no other class has had this many things where it's like, oh yeah, when you do this, game might close, like because that's pretty annoying.
Yeah, this class has many bugs. It just needs to get fixed, to be
Well,
honest.
I think it's always going to kind of stay a problem because it doesn't exist in KMS, right? So anything that has to get fixed is only going to be for GMS, and for GMS it's always going to come very late. But for some classes, that's a very big benefit, right? Like for Kana, and that allows them to be really, really OP for very long without needing to get struck down. But if you are on the other side of that, on the Hayato, like look at how the nodes are for Kana and how the nodes are for Hayato.
Oh yeah, it's been difficult.
You know, I think this discourages a lot of people from playing the class. But if you know what you're doing with this class and you play it properly, you can be so strong.
This class is really strong with moves, I think.
But the 5th
It's just
job does
hard.
everything. Without 5th job, this class is kind of a joke.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's just like hero. I couldn't.
A lot
I was
of
gonna main him,
explorers, yeah, a lot of explorers have
but
that
I
problem.
just- yeah.
Like a marksman, dual blade, like buccaneer, like getting up to 200 is like, ugh. And then once you get to 200, 5th job is just amazing. Huh?
Oh yeah. Felt really good with this class.
Okay, so what can be the short-term goals, mid-term goals, and to achieve your long-term goal of becoming a better Hayato than Hamtoryu and destroying Hard Lucid with at least 15 seconds left?
15.
That's what we're
Okay.
aiming for, okay? We're going to do solo faster than your party does now. Or do you run Hard Lucid?
Hard. No. I
Okay.
ran like normal lucid like 8,
Mm-hmm.
not like 6 times, 5 times.
Do you have a set
Got him.
party for these bosses?
Yeah, I've got him out guild.
Mm-hmm. And is everyone kind of moving in the same direction as you, like at the same pace, and wants to move over to like the hard boss soon?
Went to like H lucid.
Yeah, because if you're doing normal Lucid and everyone is like around your stage in the party, you're probably killing it very quickly, right?
Nah, well, some people are like 240, maybe
Mm-hmm.
one is 237.
Yeah.
One is pushing to 250 just for normal will. I think I'll have the same party as I have lucid for will as well. So it just makes everything more comfortable.
Yeah, it's good to keep people together.
Some are lower level, but I think some are like bigger, more stat than me, so that's kind of fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, remember, you know how final damage reduction works because of level, right?
Yeah.
So even if you can have double the range of someone, but if you're 5 levels lower at the wrong point, you still do less damage. It's those multipliers are like huge benefits and huge downsides as well at the same time. So
So
yeah.
we get
Okay,
like
so
more
you've
so-
done normal lucid, and you're gonna do normal will, and then you've soloed everything up until there, like Lotus Damien, Akechi, CPAP, all that stuff.
Soloed?
Yeah?
Yeah, solo. Pretty much everything.
Yep. Okay. And
fun.
you have enough experience with lucid already because you've done some runs, but you're kind of waiting. Yeah. So I guess it's kind of up to you to see. Well, we're not gonna send you into hard lucid with 27k stat. That might be a little bit early, but we will see what we can do with your situation right now to get you there. So, we'll just go topic by topic, and then if you have specific questions, you just let me know. And also, keep in mind the extra experience and stuff and training, which leads me to... yeah, sorry?
No, I'm just saying okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Which leads me to one thing. So, like, the legendary inability, we saw that, like, you have low honor experience right now. There is upcoming changes in KMS to re-rolling of honor experience. So, I think it's probably best for now to just... you know honor experience, right?
Honor... Yeah, okay.
To just hold on.
To the right.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. To re-roll your inner ability. To just hold on to honor experience for now and just wait a long time before you like min-max on that. 20 boss is just fine. Like for mobbing, it holds you back a little bit because you're not getting drop rate or meso obtain, so we'll have to kind of factor that in a little bit. But 20% damage like is fine, but your honor experience is very low, so I'm going to assume that you probably worked on your on your inner ability a little bit in an inefficient way. So the best thing to do for now is just save up all the honor experience you can get. Try to do dojo once a week and get like a good record so you can build up. Okay. And then the other thing is, of course, if you're training, we're trying to get as much drop rate as possible so that you get all of those little badges to drop, and make sure you do all your weekly bosses because those drop a lot of honor if you add all of that up.
I haven't been doing dailies or daily bosses or even I think weeklies
Yeah.
for the past week and a half.
Dailies is not too important. Yeah.
So I've just been...
Yeah, the dailies are not super important, honestly. If you have like any time, like somewhere in the week to do the weeklies, those are more important. Those drop way more honor experience than those little daily guys.
Yeah. I guess I've been kind of lazy this heat. It's getting to me.
Oh, the heat, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Ice cold water. Do it in the middle of the night, man, when it's dark.
I can't even sleep.
I can't sleep with the heat, man. It's either one. Either you can game or you can sleep. It's one of the two.
Yeah, I know which one I'm picking. Yeah.
We can't sleep the whole day. No, okay. But would you say that you can't really pick a time in the week to do all your weekly bosses?
I can for sure, but it's like...
well, because, okay.
I got all days, like, I'm free right now, so I'm just...
Maybe just one or two per day. You don't have to like block in an hour of your time or 2 hours of your time to do them all, right? You can just kind of do whenever. But the other thing I want to talk about with that is that, so when you look at weekly bosses, it's very easy to kind of reduce weekly bosses to like, oh, I don't really want the money from the crystals or something, or like I could just train and make the same money and also get experience. But the thing with bosses is, one, it keeps you kind of, even if it's like the easier bosses, it keeps you kind of fresh on like what are the mechanics of bosses, like how do you dodge, where are your skills, like it keeps your muscle memory for mobbing and bossing, both of it fresh, and not just the one for mobbing, and then when you're bossing you have to like, oh yeah, fuck bossing, how did that work again? It keeps your muscle memory very fresh. The other thing is there's a lot more value in a boss besides that and besides the crystal, because you can have like soul shards, you can have cubes and flames, although we don't quite know how that's going to work after the patch, and just like items from the boss that you might need for backups for later, and that way you're also generating value for your account slowly, but it's kind of invisible that way. But with all of those things come, and the honor experience, you know, that will help you get to the endgame inner ability later, all of those things together will move you forward way more than just like the value of the crystal.
Okay.
And why I do the bosses like clumped together in one session is because what I can do is I could just pop a drop coupon. Usually what I do is I pick whatever boss has like the longest run up before you kill it. So that's like Princess No. And then I go all the way up until the last door. And I pop a drop coupon, kill Princess No, and then kill like as many bosses as I can within the coupon. And then you can kind of see like, okay, do I want to do another one, or do I want to do a little bit later, you know, depending on how strong you are and how many bosses you can do. And but that way you can make sure that you get extra drop during all of that, you know, extra honor experience and all of that as well, and all of it adds up, extra soul shards, extra etc, etc. But what it also allows you to do is to cluster when you change your hyperstats, and I think you're going to be at the point where changing up your hyperstats is going to be a good idea, especially to min-max your gains when you're training. So do you ever do hyperstat min-maxing?
No. I think I used the website, I think, and well, I think I used this website a long time ago when I was like 230, so I just checked what I had to put in and just what ID I have or something like that, and just gave me the stats I need to put in. That's it.
And you just
I don't
and then you just added on that since then.
Yeah, just put on some on boss damage, some on crit
Yeah.
rate.
Because I think we can,
have.
yeah, I think we can optimize when it comes to your hyperstats, but I can't do that right now. I have to see like everything else first, and then see how it all puzzles together, right? Because it's one big puzzle with your hyperstats, your link skills, your legion board. Like mainly those three sources are very important for crit rate, crit damage, IED, and then damage boss damage is kind of combined, right? Because it gets thrown into one pile when you're bossing. So the hyperstats, link skills, and your whole legion, we'll have to kind of see how that can work together to be somewhat optimal. So now what we're gonna have to see is that where that's gonna lie. So what I'm saying with min-maxing the hyperstats, and that's mainly going to be, and hopefully that will help you get better rates when you're training as well, is to be, okay, you're going to be in bossing mode 1 or 2 days a week, hopefully, right? You're going to get all your weeklies done. And then even if you do dailies outside of that, you don't really care to be like optimized with boss damage and IED when you're doing daily bosses. Those are just going to get exploded anyway, right? We don't give a fuck about that. So we want like 2 days, hopefully, where you can cluster like you do your runs, your lucid and your will runs with your guild, and then you do your weekly bosses with your main character. You want to have those 2 days like focused, that you go for the ideal setup for your hyperstats when you're bossing, and then you change it up for mobbing so that you can have the whole week to train whenever you want, and then your hyperstats are like set. So the main thing is for hyperstats when you're mobbing is that you don't need any IED and any boss damage, and you can throw those points into EXP instead, and sometimes into arcane power if that's necessary, but I don't think you need to throw into arcane power, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so what most people around your level probably do is, I think, get EXP up to like level 13 or something, and
13.
then, yeah, something like that, and then just take get enough critical rate to have 100%, but we have the current event buff going on, so you might get 100% critical rate easier than you think, but again, you'll also use some extra, you can easily use an extra link skills to get critical rate, right? Because you don't need all the IED and all the boss damage ones and all the survivability ones. You don't need any of those when you're mobbing. So enough crit rate to get to 100%, and then pretty high on the EXP, probably like 12 or 13, and then get your critical damage and your regular damage up to 10 or 11 probably, I think you'll be able to do. And then if you have anything left, divide it between attack and strength basically. And then that'll just make your base damage for training pretty much exactly the same as it is now, but you'll just get way more, well, not way more, but you'll get a chunk more of EXP, at least coming from your hyperstats. And like you said, you're getting this percentage, they're getting that percentage. It's really going to be a matter of getting all of the little sources that you can get and making sure that all of them are active, and that's going to make the big difference in the end of like how much experience are you getting per totem. So this is, I think, one of the ones. So like min-maxing your hyperstats. So how high you're going to get exactly, I can't really math it up, but I see you have your damage in 13. And you have your critical rate in 8, which I think is that. Do you know if that's brings you exactly to 100% crit rate, or is it a little bit over because of the event buff?
So in bossing stance, I'm pretty sure it's always 100%.
Or you're gonna be mobbing stance, I mean, right?
In mobbing stance, I'm like 60. But if I use HS, I'm 100% because that gives a critical rate buff of like 40 or something.
HS?
Hitokiri strike.
Right. Oh yeah, you call that HS. Yeah, holy symbol is usually HS.
Ah, yeah, my bad.
Yeah. And but Hitokiri, is that close to 100% uptime?
Because it is.
It doesn't start with 100, right? But you can.
No, so basically, first is like straight line skill, and then it just goes up or down. Like
right, the diagonal one.
You want to choose.
And every time you do that, it refreshes the buff.
No, the first time you use it, it's an iframe and a buff.
Right, but I thought it lasted quite a bit shorter than or not quite a bit, but like, is it like a 90-second buff and like a 2-minute cooldown or something? There's like a gap, no?
I think the buff lasts 59 seconds, and I think maybe to refresh the diagonals things and just go into straight line, I think it takes like 1 minute, maybe. I haven't actually tested it out.
If it's close to 100% uptime, then you can rely on that.
I don't really need to use Hitokiri Strike when I'm farming, since I can kill in one taps everything, even without
100% crit rate.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I do a lot of damage.
Yeah, okay. So for now that'll be fine, but it'll probably be necessary to get to 100% crit rate if you want to go into Limina or something, right? Like if you're just moving into a new area, especially if you're losing the arcane power benefit, because that's final damage lost there as well, right?
I don't know.
It might be. It might not be
attacks
because
are strong.
yeah, it is true. Yeah, that is true. And we'll work on that, right? We'll work on getting your base level strength up, that regardless of your mobbing or bossing. So, but this is always going to be a thing that it comes back to. Like, if you don't need the crit rate, that's great. But if you're saying right now, like, you don't need the crit rate, then what are those 8 points in your hyperstats doing at crit rate right now? That could be experience and giving you extra experience. Or that could be IED and giving you more final damage on bosses. That could be boss damage giving you more boss damage, right? That's
yes.
So it's all interchangeable. So if you don't need it, that's great. But then we're gonna need to move it, right? We want to optimize a little bit here because you've worked for this, right? You've reached this level. You've worked on your Legion. You worked on these link skills. So we want to make sure that you click them in the right place and put them in the right order, so that they can actually work for you and give you the benefit that you earned.
True, that's smart.
Yeah. So that's why. So I see the IED at 2 and the damage at 13. That's like that can never be optimal. That's just no way. Because going past 2, yeah. Because going past 10 on damage is so expensive that if you take like the level 12 to level 13 of damage, you take that out and you put it in IED, that'll always give you more. Even if you're already at 97% visible, it'll always give you more damage output. Like
even if I have 93% idea, well, bosses I need more than that.
Yeah, so I can kind of dispel. So there was, in the past, a long time ago, there was like this idea that if you have 93% IED, you're like good for everything, right?
Okay.
Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Nope.
Okay.
I just thought 93 is a pretty good number.
Okay. Well,
it's pretty high. I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you know how? Okay. So I'm gonna. Do you want a quick explanation of how IED works and the damage penalty there?
Yeah. Sure, go ahead.
So a boss has PDR, right, which is like armor, and then IED is your penetration of the armor, and that, you know, how much more of the armor you break, you get less damage reduction. So if the boss has 100% and you have 93, which we'll get into a minute, that the 93 you see is probably not exactly 93, it's a bit lower because it rounds up. But let's say you have 93, boss has 100% armor, which means you ignore 93% of the 100%, 7% is left, so you lose 7% of your final damage. Okay, that's not too bad, right? But all of the bosses up to CRA, those go up to 100%. Everything past that has more than 100%. C-Val used to have 300%, now has 200%. Helix has 250. Lotus and Damien have 300%. And everything has 300% up to Saren. Saren is like 380 or something. Who, well, it originally came out with 500, but they had to nerf that because KMS doesn't have IED. So what it means if you, let's say you still have 93, but you're attacking a boss now with 300% PDR, you ignore 93% of the 300%, which means there's 21% left, right? Because 93% of 300% is 279. So there's 21% left. So now you get 21% final damage reduction, which is a lot. So if you get your IED up from 93 to 94, which it's progressively harder to increase your IED, right? Because every line you add is calculated individually and gives you how much more IED you need, gives you that percentage of the line of how much you're missing from your current number to get to 100%, right? So let's say that you add a 10% line. If you're at 93, then you get 10% of what you're missing to get to 100. So 100 minus 93 is 7. So you get 10% of 7. So you get 0.7%. So you go from 93 to 93.7. That's how the IED works, right? So progressively scaling down. But if you go from 93, let's say that you're at 94 now, and you're still fighting a boss with 300% PDR, well, now you're ignoring 94%, which means you're ignoring 282%, right? So there's only 18% final damage reduction. So you went from 21% final damage reduction, doing 79% of your damage, to 18% reduction, doing 82% of your damage. So your final damage went up by a little bit more than 3%, just by gaining 1% in your IED. And the problem is that IED that shows in your stat window isn't really accurate, and some characters have more debuffs, more boss debuffs, more on-hit effects that makes it harder to calculate what your functional IED is versus your visual IED, and that's why I think I linked you the IED calculator, right? The GMS meta calculator, I think.
I don't think I tried it out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I clicked on it. It looked confusing, to be honest. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
So it can be confusing, but the important thing is what you can do with it is you can play around with it very easily to see, do I need more ID or not? Like, is what I have right now, is that a good amount or not? And so some classes will visually need a lot because they don't have too many added effects, and some classes have a lot of added effects and they can get away with very low visual. So just the number 93 doesn't really say much. It depends on what class you are and how many other effects are going on. Excuse me. Does that kind of put into context? And this is kind of like a recurring theme, right? And this is why we're not looking at damage range at all. It'll never come up in this whole game, except to point out that your mastery is apparently very, very low that I wasn't aware of. Is because damage bonus, boss damage clunked together, final damage whenever it scales, which you can't see right now, critical rate, critical damage, IED, like these are the important things that give you final damage increase or final damage reduction, but none of these are really appropriately addressed in your damage range. So that's why we just take those things out and we start calculating them somewhere else. We don't really look at the stat window for that specifically. Yeah, so we'll get into IED a bit more, and we'll see how we can optimize that. But definitely, like between damage being in 13 and IED being in 2, that already makes it. I'm getting excited because there's definitely room to optimize and to make your damage go higher. Now the thing is, you're not really going to see a lot change, but hopefully the bosses will start dying a little bit quicker, or if you get to more difficult bosses, you won't have as hard a time, basically.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because that's the thing, right? If you use the hyperstat calculator at like level 230, what your account needs is completely different, because your link skills are different, and the skills that you're using are different, and your matrix is different, and everything, the puzzle pieces that you need to fit to optimize is just different. So you can't just add a few numbers up, because you'll get familiars and like big chunks of stats, and you'll build out your Legion board, and
It's hard.
yeah, exactly. But there's so many moving pieces, right? So every now and then you have to like take a step back, look at the whole situation, and then reapply. And of course, the higher level you go, typically the slower things change, so the easier it is to make little adjustments. But in the beginning, when you're leveling very quickly, I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces, it can very quickly get outdated. And if you just add numbers to what you already have high and keep low what you already have low, you might end up a little bit lopsided on the point distribution. And I think the hyperstats is kind of like illustrative of that. So we'll keep that in mind. But like hyperstat optimization is definitely something that we'll have to circle back to.
Okay.
So with the matrix, did you have any questions here?
I think I'm all Gucci. I think I got lucky and got pretty good primes.
Mm-hmm.
My triple trinos at 8, yeah.
So you need 4 skills, right? So you use 3 boost nodes, and then 1 is kind of just extra.
Yeah, I don't know why I took a screenshot of that node. That node is pretty bad, not gonna lie.
I guess you're just hovering over it, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the top one is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Second from the top, I think it's Rye, and then Falcon's on there.
And Falcon, yeah, and then Falcon.
Yeah, that took me like 2k nodes. And then the left one, you can see it's Rye, and Falcon. That took like another 3 or 2k nodes as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got pretty lucky, because I was farming like on my Kana, so I had a lot of nodes.
So would optimizing be to get one of the other 2 instead of another Rise Sun Runs On to have Hitokiri 100 strike?
No, I don't think so. No. So I think my third node would be which I'm hovering over right now. I just probably like hit HHS, which is the red thing, and then.
Well, you have one throwaway line, right? Because you want 4 skills. You want Falcon's Honor, Rise Sun Runs On, Rai Blade Flash, and Hitokiri 100 Strike, right?
No, 2 Rise.
Yeah, Rise Sun Runs On and Rai Blade Flash.
Yeah, and Falcon's
Honor and Hitokiri 100 Strike.
Yeah, those are basically all the skills I use.
So, but right now you have 3 Rise Sun Runs Ons, right?
Yep.
And you have 1 Hitokiri 100 Strike.
Yep.
And since this third node that you're hovering over starts with Rise Sun Runs On, this one has to keep the Rise Sun Runs On. So one of the other 2 would do best to switch the Rise Sun Runs On out for a Hitokiri 100 Strike, optimally.
Yeah, that might be bad.
So that's not like something you can do right now, But eventually,
No.
that's something you want to keep an eye out for, and maybe like in 6 years or something, that magical unicorn node is gonna pass by.
Yes.
And then you can get your second boost on Hitakiri 100 Strike, because it's like a huge final damage boost and it does an insane amount of lines, right?
No, not anymore. Yeah, I used to do
anymore?
like 400 attacks
Mm-hmm.
before the patch. Of course, I was kind of bugging it. Now it does like 40 attacks. So it's,
Okay. But it still
nerfed.
says 133 final damage on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it's maxed, then you're like 50, 60k style, like Amtoru. I think you could do like 1.2 trill with that. Maybe more now since the damage cap is removed.
Wait, it's 7% per line? Yeah, 7%.
7%.
Yeah, so it can go up to 420. Nice. 420%. Because you can look at the, you know about all of the levels get added up together, right? So if you look at your matrix and you look at your V tab without opening this, but just in your skill, if you look in your skill tab and you look at the 5th job tab there without opening the matrix, you'll see the total levels right now, and you see your Falcon's Honor be at 53, and then the Rise Sun Renzan will be also at 53, and then the Rise on Renzan will be at 60, right? It'll be capped at 60 already.
Yep.
But so the last 12 levels are like not being used by that. So ideally, you want either Rise on Renzan, Hitakiri 100 Strike, Falcon's Honor, or Falcon's Honor, Rise on Renzan, Hitakiri 100 Strike. One of the other high levels. You don't have to I'm not telling you like you need to start making nodes right now to get those. But that will be something to look into.
Should I ask a professional maybe? Like, you're a professional, of course, but...
Yes, I am a professional. Okay, you don't need you to second guess me right here on my own stream. Okay.
Of course. Maybe, I wish I could ask him to do, man.
Mm-hmm.
He never responds to me. Like,
damn. If you fanboying out too hard?
Maybe when I clear solo Black Mage, then he will.
Yeah. So that's the real goal here. You wanna get noticed by Senpai. That's actually what you're trying to do here.
Well, I actually talked to him in BC once, and he told me there is a secret map I go to for triple primes. You know where it is?
No, because it's secret.
Oh. Well, he didn't tell me that, but he said
he said it exists.
I asked him how to get a pod badge as well.
Yeah, because he's got some triple primes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he said I can get pod badge to 20 stars, but I don't even have a pod badge.
Damn.
So
is your senpai lying to you? Is that what you're saying right now? Is he a false god?
I don't know. I don't believe in God, but I might actually believe in him.
Yeah. The next best thing, right? Yeah, the closest thing.
Yeah, basically a new religion.
Okay.
I wish.
Yeah, but yeah. So from what I can see is that the ideal setup, at least for the boost nodes, would be to switch out your the Rise and Renzan and either the level 21 or 22 one with a Hitakiri 100 Strike for your ideal setup. But besides that, I think the ideal setup would be to switch out the Blade Flash in the third one by Shinsoku, I think. Because you sometimes maybe use that, but like, that's like level 300 area.
No.
No, okay.
So I wish they would revamp that skill.
Like Toru is in the chat.
Oh. No,
yo, can we get a special appearance? Wait, do we draw you into the voice chat? That'd be hilarious.
Yo, nah, that's a fake account.
Who's your god now? I summoned him, okay?
I'm embarrassed. No, hopefully you didn't hear that. No, hopefully that's fake. Someone just made an account real quick after hearing me talk about him.
Yeah, made exactly Hamtoryu with no real weird symbols and anything.
Yeah. Hopefully.
If that was the case, I would be even more impressed. That'd be pretty good.
Oh wow.
But yeah, and then when it comes to the skill nodes, I see a severe lack of decent skills. Do you switch those out sometimes, depending on situations, or
what do you mean switch out?
Well,
no, I just keep them like that. I think that's the most efficient.
Well, when so this is your bossing setup, right?
Yeah, bossing, mobbing.
Well, did you use this one in both?
Yeah.
Because I would think if you're bossing, you probably wouldn't use rope lift, only like in Lucid, right? And then I would probably use one of your decent skills instead. You'd either use decent sharp eyes, so
My
you can,
decent sharp
Yeah.
eyes?
for example, because it gives crit damage as well. 8% crit damage is really big.
I have sharp eyes.
Yeah, you have it, but you don't have it equipped, at least in this picture, right? So if you have a bossing setup, I wouldn't use rope lift, and if you have mobbing setup, I probably wouldn't use the Princess Sakuna's Blessing, because that's specifically a burst skill, right? And then I wouldn't use the bind either. So then you have those two available.
I mean, I had a decent sharp eyes glove, I think. So I asked if I can put sharp eyes on my V Matrix, but they said that they don't stack, so they don't work. So I just never.
You totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
But now you don't have sharp eyes there anymore. Yeah, so you want the sharp eyes on.
Oh.
And then the crit rate, again, the crit rate comes back, right? Because that makes it so that you don't need crit rate in other places, including the hyperstats that we talked about.
Okay.
So the crit rate can get full value, and the critical damage that comes in will increase your base damage by a lot, because critical damage is really good.
Yeah. Well, lucky with that glove that you saw.
Yeah, pretty nice. Yeah, also for rope lift, I think most Hayatos don't use it too much, because you do have your up jump and you have some weird dashy diagonal things you can do.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, to be honest. It's when I'm farming, I just press one button, it's way better.
I think people use it more once your entire board is like full and you're on your second page in your matrix and you're like level 275 and everything. Then people just throw in whatever. But you know, when you're still limited for space, I think it's better to like min-max a little bit on which skills you use. So in your situation, so for mobbing, I would take out the Sakuna's Blessing and the Bind and replace them with replace it with decent sharp eyes. And another thing that you can do for damage, I would probably replace it with decent combat orders. But if you're doing training sessions,
what does it do?
Decent combat orders increases the level of your attacking skills and your passive skills in 4th job by 1 level over their max. But what you can also use instead of that, because that's not like amazing for everyone, it can be like a little bit of a min-maxy thing for some people. What you can also use is, if you have enough nodes, you can create a special node called Character Building 1. And that one, if you're just training and you're just rotating and you get hit, you will, every now and then it'll trigger, and then you just get extra bonus experience for a little bit afterwards. So if you're trying to like min-max your experience, this is like another way to do that. And lasts 1 week, so you can remember like...
I think I was Googling about it, and it said every 100th time you get hit.
Yeah. And you'd think that never will trigger, but it'll trigger quite a bit, actually.
I don't know. I think I disassembled after reading how it works.
Well, you only get it for a week, so it is fine that you disassemble it. Every time you create it, it lasts 1 week, and then you have to disassemble it again and then create a new one the next week. But if you are going to like clump up your bosses together in like 1 or 2 days, then you can then you switch right with the hyperstats and with your matrix setup. Then you can also make the node, train with it for like 5 days or 6 days, or you don't have to train every day, but you have like 5 or 6 days to use it, and then you disassemble it afterwards. Then you have your 2 days with all your bossing, and then you make another one, right?
Okay.
And that's going to be another step to like min-maxing the experience that you get. One other thing, and I don't know if you need it, is when you are mobbing, I think you can also go without weapon aura, because it is a final damage. Yeah, it gives final damage and IED, so that aspect doesn't do anything when you're mobbing. The extra swipe that comes out can be useful, but it's really dependent on what map you're training in. And since
what is weapon aura?
It's like the yellow scythe
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
that thing.
I
don't need it.
Yeah, because you have just giant AoEs, right? So it's really more a min-maxing thing when you're bossing. So you could move that one perhaps for decent combat orders.
I don't. It might be useful later, to be honest, but for now, I think everything's fine since I can one-shot. But as you said, in Lamina, I might have more trouble, so I might actually have to start switching my nodes up and just do as you say.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about min-maxing your EXP as well, right?
Yeah,
So this is not so much for making you do more damage right now. This is for increasing your baseline of damage so that we can move a bunch of other stuff around that will give you actually experience more. Because if we can get decent combat orders to make your base level stronger, we can get the character building node in, and we can get your crit rate higher and your critical damage higher with Sharp Eyes. What this means is that when it comes to your link skills, your Legion grid filling, and your hyperstats, we can cut down on points there. We can move all the points into your experience gain and into your experience grid and Legion instead. And even though you will keep killing at the same speed, you'll get more experience from every kill. And that's how you can get from the 20% that you're at now to the 30% that other people are getting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole goal. So it's not like to make you stronger and saying that you're weak. It's to make sure that we move where the damage comes from, so we can move it into being able to do experience. Because if there were more ways of getting experience out of your matrix, I would just throw those in, right? Because that'll be way simpler.
Yeah.
Then we can just do a one quick fix. But it's not possible. We have to get some more damage here. Then we can squish whatever we need from the Legion, and then we can squish that into the hyperstats, and then the hyperstats can be like bling bling bling, full EXP, right? Because there won't be anything that the hyperstats needs to do anymore, so it could just go in full in EXP. So we kind of have to find the path of least resistance and bend the water bend our way into getting more experience out of your hours. So so does that all make sense? And then when you're bossing, probably take off Lope Rift, nice. Rope Lift, unless you're doing Lucid. I think it can be pretty useful there. And if you're bossing with a Kana, then you probably also don't take your own bind, right? You don't want to accidentally bind when the Kana is already binding, and it's got their own timers. So, like if you're doing Lucid, you probably switch out your regular bind and switch that out with decent Sharp Eyes. And if you're doing solo bossing, then you would switch out the Rope Lift with decent Sharp Eyes.
Yeah.
That all make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions about the Matrix?
Nah, I think that's pretty much everything about it.
Yeah. You feel good?
I'm feeling good, babe.
It's a lot, right? It's a lot of information.
Yeah, I'll be able to go past it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I'll upload it for sure. So the other two pieces that we talked about, right, is going to be your Legion and your Link skills, right?
Yeah.
Well, before we watch that, what is your familiar situation?
It's not that good. I just started. It's not. I didn't start just now, but it's not.
Dude, I see a large amount of drop rate. I mean, that's already pretty fucking good, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty lucky. Yeah, I got it the other day.
Yeah. Any ID or boss damage?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
I think that's pretty much all my good familiars.
These are the good. Okay. Continues to restore HP to party. Auto steal gives continues to restore a large amount of HP to nearby allies. Okay, that's a pretty good setup. I think the only thing that we're missing from here would be ID or boss damage. But if you're currently making them, like you'll get that eventually, right?
Probably, maybe.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, let's go with that one.
Okay.
What this will probably mean though is that your ID might be a little bit on the lower side now, so we'll have to invest a little bit higher into ID. But then if you do get good familiars with ID and you don't get boss damage ones, then that means that you can move some sources of ID into boss damage instead. If you get boss damage ones, then you can keep the ID that you have now and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll keep in mind for that. But just to make sure that there's no huge chunks of ID here, because then we'd have to take that into account with everything else. Okay, so you have a picture of your Link skills here, but you don't have too many things equipped.
It's probably.
Oh. Did he just die? Hello? Oh, he just died. RIP. He will be missed. I think unironically his internet just died. Can we get an F in the chat for our boy? Meeting Hamtoryu in the chat was just too much for him, I think. Oh, he's back alive. Hello.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, give me a sec. My cat's just in my room and he jumped on my cable box.
Oh, I see. Those damn cats, dude.
Yeah.
If there's anything anywhere they shouldn't be, that's where they'll go.
Sorry, I can't really see there's an ad. I'm just waiting 10 seconds. So about my Link skills, I have a lot of unequipped ones because I've been training my Legion as I said before at the start.
Right, and the links are on there to train them more quickly?
Yeah, links are basically on there. I just got not really good ones, but like, I think pretty good. Pretty good.
So,
uh,
so what's the deal with knockback resistance for you? If you're in bossing mode, you have 100%?
Knockback resistance? No, I don't.
Okay. Because I see some knockback resistance in your Legion. So what is your knockback situation? Because I don't know exactly for Hayato how that works. You play the class. You should. Hamtorio, I'm gonna need you. Okay, this boy is struggling. Okay, he's drowning over here. Hayato gets 80 in bossing mode. You gotta spec into Legion Hyper to get 20 more. Yeah, and when you're mobbing, do you have 100 then?
Oh, you actually said so.
I guess you don't care in mobbing because you just AoE blow up everything anyway, so...
Okay, you said something. Go ahead and read it or something.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I think it's just for farming. I don't know. I think I
Mobbing
optimize it if I don't get knocked back.
Yeah, for bossing you do want to get it to the point where you have 100% because otherwise it's just really, really annoying, and for some bosses it'll mean death, which is the most annoying of all. So again, this is going to be one of those things, just like your hyperstats, where we're going to move a bunch of stuff around and make it optimal to make you do way more damage, okay? I'm going to help you out with this one. Okay, it's a little bit harder because you're not online right now, so we don't know the exact numbers. So I'm just going to have to explain kind of like the concept and the numbers that you need to look out for. And then you're going to have to do the work afterwards since the game is down right now. Because we can like do it in real time. Or you have a spreadsheet?
Yeah, sir. Can I see it? It's pretty clean.
Yeah, just link it, dude. Link it to me.
I'll link it. I don't know if I want to link it, to be honest. You might be able to edit it and then see my progress. It's all good. It's privacy, I guess.
I think it's automatically set to private unless you specifically give people rights to edit.
Let me share, I think. Let me see.
Yeah, just pop the full link in the Discord and I'll just
click it's all good.
40 base, 40 from quick draw stance.
I'm not gonna mess around with it, right? There you go. Don't leak it. Well, you can maybe. It's fine.
Oh, it's fucking Excel. Does it open? Oh, it's fucking OneDrive link. Gonna have to download it and open it on. Oh shit, it works. What? Okay. Oh, it has an authentication key in the title. I don't know. Okay.
Authentication.
Let me look at it off stream, just to make sure it doesn't. Nobody fucks with it. Okay.
Don't look at some of the names.
Some of the character names.
Yeah, don't look at.
Okay, well now I'm gonna look. Okay.
Okay, I should have said that.
Recycle Blind. Wow, that's your arc?
Okay. Yeah, my bad.
Damn, the Beast Tamer one was really inspired.
The Beast Tamer one, yeah.
There's a 3. It was already taken with all the E's, so you had to put a 3 in there? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, but you're like 6k is definitely doable, right? Do you already have 0?
I got what, sorry?
A 0 class? Do you already have that one?
No, I'm gonna make one.
Yeah, okay, because that one's really good. Again, that's also 10% extra EXP if you get that to 200. So it's gonna be another source that people might have, but you don't have. And when it comes to the... Mezzoptine? No, it's EXP, and then it's the link skill is ID and reduced incoming damage, but not percentage damage, so that one is kind of eh.
Okay.
Are you familiar with my links command?
Links command? Nah.
Oh, well, okay, well, you link me, I'm gonna link you now, okay?
Okay.
Okay, boom. If you look at that, I have all the buffs of Legion and links of all the characters in the game. And you can kind of see what the general order is that I think is useful to build your account and to make your main stronger eventually.
This is confusing. It's a lot of...
Okay, what's confusing?
I think the whole page.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you look at the bottom, you can see all the colors and what everything means.
Kinda colorblind, this. Guess I'm...
Okay, well, that might make it a bit harder, I guess.
Those,
Alright, as a colorblind, which colorblindness do you have? Like which two colors?
Brown, red is practically the same.
Mm-hmm.
Blue, purple is definitely the same.
Yep. Well, I mean, blue and purple are pretty similar. I give you that one.
Yeah, just it's not that I don't know the colors. It's just colorblind. It took me like 14 years to notice that.
Damn. No one told you. You're like, okay, we could
Nah,
go. We could. Oh, we have to stop. It's a brown light, and no one was like, hey, dude, that's kind of red.
Nah, I just used to ask for colors. And they give me a pencil case in school, and then just say.
Well, you
Can
asked
you
for
just give me the
colors,
color?
but nobody knew you. Yeah, you've faked
No,
faked
that's
it till you made it for so long.
It's been a long time.
Wait, how did you get exposed?
Exposed?
Yeah, how did you? When were you like, okay,
Well-
I can't fake it anymore. Now it's too real. Now I have to just admit.
Ooh.
What happened?
I don't even know. I don't think anyone knows. It's been. I
Is it
haven't
like-
exposed it yet until now.
Oh shit. Okay, well,
Uh-oh.
it's on the interwebs now. Everyone will know. So the do you see the difference between the white squares and the green squares?
Let me see.
Like the background
What's-
color
what's
for
going-
white and green?
Background color, white and green. Where's the green though?
Like the skill CDR is green, buff duration is green.
Yeah, I can see those.
Yeah, so the clear one, the white one, that's link skill, and the green one is the Legion buff. So that's why they're ordered in that way. And if you see a dash or a slash in between, that's because of the different ranks, right? So if it's a link skill, it's link level 1, 2, 3, and if it's Legion, it's BAS, double S, triple S.
So mechanic has 5 levels. I see 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
5
that's
level
right.
link skill?
No. Remember,
Huh?
the white one is link skill, the green one. You said you saw the difference, okay? Wait, is the green white to you and the white green to you?
and white.
Yeah, so that one's
Okay.
green. So if you look at the bottom, you can see green is a Legion buff. See that?
Oh, Legion, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And that has
And white
BAS,
is-
double S, triple S. That has 5 ranks.
Triple S.
So if you look at all the experience ones, right? How far are you with those? Because 0, we talked about you're going to make those, right? So you're going to get that to 200. That'll give you the 10% EXP. But where are
Yep.
you with Evan, Aaron? I think Mercedes you have level 210, right?
Yeah, I just got that.
Nice, nice, yeah. And the other ones are just level 2? 2?
Yep, yep.
Mhm. Okay.
I'm doing that way later.
Yeah, if you're going for 6k, that's fine. If you're going for 8k, I
Nah,
would
8K,
prioritize... Yeah, if you're going for 8k, then I would prioritize getting them to 210. Just to speed everything else up. If you already know you're going to do that. So just keep that in mind now.
Okay.
For Aaron and Evan. And then after that, you know, the fucking skill CDR and buff duration, that's very easy. And then crit rate. Crit rate is very important, right? Because you want to make sure that all of your crit damage hits monsters. Without crit rate, you can't hit the crit damage. And then once you have the crit rate, you guessed it, now you have all the crit damage. Why is the font different for this?
Did I change it?
The font? No, you can't. No, I'm not.
Can't change it?
I'm not letting people change this.
Can I change it?
No, that's not. You know what a shit show this thing would become? It's already. I've already
I
had to
think I changed it. I was clicking on the 3 greens and then
fix some
kinda
huge
became
mistakes.
Smaller. Oh no, it's bigger.
Yeah, no, that's me. That's me
Oh,
fixing
it's
it.
you. I was just clicking on it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you can click all you want in there. It's not gonna budge.
Oh, well.
And then damage, and then well, Mesoptane because it's already in there anyway. So you can see the yellow ones; those are the most important to build your legion. So you probably have most of those classes if you like scroll down. So like the first 33 classes, I guess. Those are like all the yellow ones. You probably have most of these classes, but if you're missing any of these, I would recommend those to make and just to build and just to get to 140 now, or to 200 and eventually 210 if you wanna. If you get your eyes on 8k Legion, then 210 is
Sure,
like a
sure.
good aim for all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my Maple Legion link. I've got future 200s, future 210s. That's
Mhm.
gonna send me to 8k.
Let's see.
I've picked some characters that might be easy to level.
Future 200. Wait. On the right side. Yeah, okay. Future 210. Yeah. So that's mostly the characters you see on the grid here, right? See
Yeah.
Luminous. Yeah. Yeah, it's got like. Those are just mostly, yeah, a lot of the level 3 links.
Yeah.
Arc is probably on there. Really good. Arc is not a future 210? Bro.
Sorry,
Bro, best
nah.
link skill in the game. Come on.
What is it? Link
It's
skill?
16% damage just for staying in combat. For
That's
mobbing
pretty-
and bossing. Yeah, say it. I want to hear you say it.
It's,
Wait, why are you
it's what?
asking me what the link skill is when we literally have the link skill grid open on the stream
Oh,
right
my
now,
bad,
and you
my
have
bad.
it? Come on, man.
I just have to search for the
Yeah.
thing.
Look for arc.
Okay, and it says 1 plus
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Huh?
Yeah, per stack.
Stack max 5.
Max 5 stacks. Yeah. So
So,
1% base.
15%.
Yeah, max is 1% plus 15% if you have level 210. So 16%
Helium is
damage.
better now.
Hmm?
Helium is better now.
Is it? I don't know. It's right next to it. Read it.
1 slash 2 stack max 6.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
So it's better.
what is better?
Helium?
12 is better than 16?
Oh, is it the same thing? Oh, cause it says damage on the yellow. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Uh,
and Helium is harder to keep up because you have to move a certain distance. Versus Arc, you just have to be in
nah,
combat,
don't move.
which means get
Nah,
hit by
don't move.
anything or use any skill equals being in combat. So it's really easy to keep the Arc stacks up. It's a bit harder for Helium, depending on what class you are. Like Dawn Warriors and Night Walkers, those guys love Helium and they definitely use it in their rotation. But if you're, but everyone else, if you're them and anyone else, you want to have the Arc in there for sure.
Nah, if you're Hayato, you don't move. You just
you
don't
stand in the
move.
middle and just alternate
Nah, yeah.
buttons.
Yeah, you don't move. If you wanna move, then you're just bored, I guess.
Well, you move when you reset your critical rate, right?
Nah, I don't reset. Ooh, I'm through talking again.
Your Hitakiri
Same.
strike, right? Like you dash through the map.
Wow, this guy.
See, you see how he's confirming everything I'm saying, though, okay? Because you want to like defer to this
Wow.
god, but meanwhile,
Yeah. Helium is not good for Hayato. Oh wow.
yeah, and that's because you don't move, like you said. See, so now we
Yeah.
know this is not one that we wanted to go for. This is not a priority for me. You can go for it for mobbing. So I do have it high on the list because a lot of other characters, when you're training, you're going to be jumping around a lot. And then you're going to get a lot of easy damage from the Helium Link skill. And then those characters will be stronger. That'll help you build up your Legion and your Links faster. And then that'll make your Hayato faster, right? So it's a high priority Link for your account, but not for your character.
Okay.
So
Arc, I guess.
So I would say compare your list with this one, like afterwards, and see if you're missing anything super important. You probably maybe one at most, but you probably won't be missing that many super important things. You probably have most of these, but make sure you double check.
Okay.
Right.
Right, yeah. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about Legion and Links. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but then I
About
see
Legion.
your Legion grid, and then I question that a little bit.
Okay.
Because we're talking about like we're talking
Sure.
working a little bit with like optimizing your stuff, right? So when it comes
Oh,
to like how your hyperstats are laid out, and it's like there's like a 2 next to a 13, and then how your pieces are built around, it looks a lot like I started with something and that worked out, and then I've like throw some more
Yeah.
pieces next to it that stuck, which
Yeah.
is fine for a while. But then once you get to a certain point, you have to take a step back and like redo it. The main thing is that you're at 5.5k Legion and your grid is at 4k size. It can be
Is it?
expanded. Yeah, you're like you're at least 2 ranks behind on upgrading, which means you can have more characters in your
nah,
grid
yeah.
and your grid can be bigger.
Yeah, I'm just kind of broke on Legion coins.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even pop totems for that reason too.
Yeah,
got,
exactly.
like,
It
Monster Park, MVP, and
it is
not a-
priority though. I would say it is priority to rank up first and then to go for coupons later, because in the long term that's going to help the most. It's going to be the most
Okay.
important.
Yep.
I don't know exactly how much your rank ups are, but it is possible that you're not going to be able to use any like wealth coupons. You might be able to get experience coupons from the dojo shop instead, and from Monster Park, and the ones from the daily login, and mainly use those for experience during totems. But I would hold off on buying items from the Legion store for a little bit. Make sure you do your Legion dailies every day, and save up for the rank ups, because you're pretty close to 6. Once you have 6, you want to have the whole grid available. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And at
more
5,
next
actually at 5.5, you get to put 5 more characters in as well if you do that rank up. So.
Do I?
Mm-hmm.
5 more?
Yeah, there's one
So
per
from
level.
21 to 26?
Well, you're at 25 now.
No, I'm at 21.
Oh, sorry.
Numbers
Yeah,
is
yeah, I looked at the coins. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
21, and that's rank 4. So is that the 4K or is that the 4.5K?
I have no idea. It might
You know,
be 4.
you know who will know? Hang on, I might have a command for this. Hang on, let's see.
Ooh.
General info. I think it was like what is a legion? I think I have this one.
Right.
You're at the 4.5. That one has 21. So there's 2 more rank ups. It says here it's 820 coins in total, but I think it's a bit more. I don't know. These numbers I don't think are accurate. But you'll go up to 27 characters once you get to the 5.5, and then up to 28 once you get to 6K.
Oh, I'm pushing it to 8K this like over the summer.
If you get to 8K, then you get 36 characters on there, so you almost double.
Yeah. Damn.
But to get there faster, you want to get the rank ups first so that you can build out the Legion faster and buff your characters, right? So you have 2 setups for Legion. So this is a picture of the second one. So do you say you use this one when you're mobbing with a Hayato?
I just use this one. I don't really do anything much.
Okay.
Knockback Resistance, that's it.
Okay, so if you're going for 8K, it's going to be a bit tricky because you're dealing with the knockback resistance. And so the knockback resistance, we want to get that 20% partially with hyperstats and partially with knockback resistance. Partially with the Legion. Because if we get everything from the hyperstats, it would be too expensive there and go at the expense of other stats too much. And if we don't take any from the hyperstats, then we would be leaving a lot of easy points away there. Are you familiar with the concept of comparative advantage?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry.
So let's say that there's 2 people, and if you give one person $10, he can make you 1 iPhone. And if you give another person the same amount of money, he can give you 2. Now your money has a different value. It's still the same amount of money, but it gets different value compared to who you give it to, right? So with hyperstats and with all of your stats in the game, it's kind of the same. If you put X amount of hyperstat points into one number, it can give you a certain amount of points back. So let's say that you put 1 Legion piece that covers 5 pieces in your Legion grid, that gives you 5%. But what if you want to get 5% out of your hyperstats? Maybe that costs you more than if you move that Legion piece to another block instead. That might cost you fewer hyperstats because of the level of the hyperstat or the quality of the hyperstat. So you always want to put it in the position where it's the most efficient, where you get the most bang for your buck. Is that going to make sense? Or was that a little bit too fast?
Nah, I'm sorry. Can I just get some water? I'm just way too dehydrated.
Sure did.
I'm sorry, bro.
We're gonna have to scrap this Legion. I think, does a Hayato just need 3 Legion setups? Because if you're going up to 8K Legion, I want to make a Mage Legion and I want to make a non-Mage Legion to get all the intellect users in there. But if you need the knockback resistance partially from your Legion, then it's really scuffed for your setup. One character over 220 but 8.5. Is that possible? 8.5 divided by 40 is average of 215. Yeah, I guess it's possible. Okay. Redo the leveling versus the mage setup. Well, so the main thing is, if you want to go to 8K Legion, the main thing I do is I make a mage setup and a non-mage setup. So what that means is that I look more for, and once you get more pieces, and because you're going to 8K Legion, I look more at the member bonus as a really big thing compared to the grid bonus. You're familiar with those 2 things, right? So if I'm making a mage setup, I want to put all of those characters in there with flat intellect, because that's a huge amount of damage for mages if I'm making those. And then, of course, I still put them at the right place. And then if I'm doing anything but a mage, and then luck is like second, etc. Well, let's take that back. There's the important ones first, right? Like critical damage, critical rate, you know, all of those. Then once you get to the stats, then it's all the intellect ones, then the luck ones, and then there's like a few left over, depending on how big your legion is. But when you're doing non-mages, it's like the same first base ones, critical rate, critical damage, all that stuff. But then you go for completely different stats. And as you get more diverse and you get more different characters, the percentage of the damage that you're trying to gain from the whole Legion board is going to be less from the grid bonus and is going to be comparatively more from the member bonus, because you're going to start maxing out the grid bonus, which with like where do you put the pieces. But then the min-maxing becomes not where do you put the pieces, but which pieces do you put there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's already like a good thing to work on now, or if you do that once you reach 6K, but that's something to eventually look towards. And you have a little bit of a specific situation because of the knockback situation. We want to get 20% knockback total between your hyperstats and between your Legion board. And we want to make sure that that's always there. I guess it's more important when you're bossing, but I want to make sure that it's always there to make sure that you you don't get knocked around during bosses and then die to dumb shit, right? Because that's just so annoying, and the bosses don't deserve that. Okay, so that makes it a bit trickier. So I think what's probably best is, but it is for bossing, so you wouldn't be able to move the bossing pieces in there. Well, first of all, it's a little bit tricky. So I don't want to min-max for your current setup because you're going to be leveling it and expanding the grid and getting a bunch more characters in there once you hit the 5.5. So we'll just talk in general about priorities, right? So it's good to build 2 presets for your Legion, and you get 2 free presets, and have one preset be the focus to use it when you're leveling on your Legion, and the other one when you're on your Hayato. Specifically when you're bossing on your Hayato, and then you can kind of use the Legion one as well when you're mobbing on your Hayato, and it'll probably be fine. Okay? So one for Legion and mobbing on Hayato, and one for bossing on Hayato. Different.
Yeah,
okay. So
I changed them up because I'm farming Legion, so... Yep.
So for the first one, the training one, actually we'll just have training and a bossing one, basically. Because you're only going to be bossing on a Hayato, not so much on anything else, I guess. So
I boss on my Kana as well.
Yeah, it was on your Kana, yeah, I see that. So on the mobbing one, we'll prioritize getting enough crit rate to get to 100%. That's important. Then, when it comes to... Yeah, and this is kind of like... It's kind of tricky because if you're doing it for characters that are weak, you want to maximize your crit damage to increase that damage so you can train them very quickly. But if your Hayato is already really strong, then you want to put it in bonus experience instead. See, this is why it's a little bit tricky with your situation. Yeah. You almost want like 4 presets. You want like one for, or like, yeah. Well, at least 3. Like one for Hayato mobbing, one for Hayato bossing, and one for just Legion bullshit.
Yeah, this class built different for it.
Yeah, and I think that comes again from the lack of the KMS connection. Yeah, but like enough crit rate to get to 100, but that means double checking on the length of your hit strike, double checking your critical rate right now with the event buff and when you use a decent sharp eyes, and considering taking away a little bit of your hyperstats. Like getting your hyperstats up to level 5 is pretty much free. And that's like some critical rate that you can definitely work with. And if it's enough critical rate to make sure that you don't need hyperstats and stuff like that, hyper skills, that you don't need hyper skills, or you need fewer hyper skills, that opens yourself up for better damaging or better bossing hyper skills that'll help you get more damage out of that slot rather than just the critical rate. So in a lot of ways, God, it's very annoying to do when the game is offline. Because we just want you to log in and just kind of look at the numbers so we can see what we're working with, right? But so for knockback, you're getting... I'm sure you're getting from the... I can see that.
Some guy named Hunter who said 80%, maybe?
Yeah. But right now, like your Legion grid, I think it's 1% per block, right? 12...
That's out Knockback Resistance on the grid bonus.
3,
yeah,
6,
I can't tell.
12... 15, 18. So this would be 21%.
Oh, Is that perfect? Nah, I don't think so.
Do you have any knockback resistance in your hyperstats in this picture?
No, I think I get bonked still while I'm mobbing.
Yeah,
Should
you do.
we push?
Well, the 80% in this picture is that when you're... That has to be either when you're
That's
bossing...
some bossing stance, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, but then...
Crit rate's 100%.
Yeah, but
Oh
that
no,
would
but I
be...
use HS. Yeah, sorry.
Well, HS doesn't give critical rate. Well,
Nah,
hit
hit
the
cure
cure strike. Never mind. We went over that. We're looping.
Yeah.
If that's your bossing stance, then you were using a different Legion in that picture than this one. Because otherwise you'd be at 100%.
I think that's bossing stance. No, pretty sure.
Yeah, so then you would
Because
have a
I
different
want-
Legion on, which could have more critical rate in it. So then it's kind of hard to see what we're comparing with. So, bottom line, you want to get to 100% knockback resistance. Part of that, and probably half of that, is going to come from your hyperstats, 10%, and then 10% is going to come from your Legion grid. And that's what you want to use when you're bossing, so that in bossing you have 100%, because that's important. You want to don't want to die to annoying shit, okay? That's important. When you're mobbing and you care about getting knocked around and that's annoying to you, you can use the Mihao Link skill. If you don't care, that's fine. And then you don't need any knockback resistance anywhere. So that comes into optimizing your hyperstats if you're switching between mobbing and bossing, right? And it can come into which Legion preset you use. If you really care in the end game about min-maxing your points, maybe you move your knockback resistance points around into IED or into something else instead, right before you do mobbing or bossing. But I think it's still a decent idea to have like a main setup that's not for the Hayato and a main setup that's for the Hayato. And then depending on where you're training, you can choose which one you use. Do you just use the training setup and it's not min-maxed, but as long as the bonus experience is there and the critical rate is there, you can kill everything quickly and you get the most experience that you can, and that's fine. And if you care a little bit more about min-maxing, you can use the Hayato setup, because they'll have the knockback resistance and the right amount of critical rate and everything, and then you move a few pieces around and then just move them back when you're done. So, the knockback resistance, and then having enough crit rate to hit 100%. Remember, after you switch with Sharp Eyes, and I would also completely clean your hyper skills when you're in online, or just completely reset them, just to see the numbers, see where you're at, and then take into account Hit to Cure Strike, of course, and then go from there and see how much critical rate you still need. Okay. So after that, the priority for bossing will be critical damage in your Legion grid and IED. So IED is important that we get to a good number. The current number, and that's why I talked about the IED calculator, we don't know exactly what you have, because IED visually gets rounded up, plus there are additional sources, but I don't think that Hayato has very many of those, if I'm correct. So let's double check that. I guess we'll need to ask Hamtorio. Do you know, like, aside from boost nodes and like the mage link skill, do you have anything else that gives you IED? He's thinking.
Me?
Yeah, you. Well,
me.
I'll ask both of you. Let's see who answers first.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Cleave skill force job gives 30%. But that's a passive though, right? Yeah, that's a passive. Okay, but no other like on hit or active buffs, right? It's just boost nodes and just the 9% Explorer Mage Link skill. Because I think both with Kana and with Hayato, it's pretty much what you see is what you get, kind of thing.
Cleave skill?
I don't have any of that, yeah.
Isn't cleave skill Adele skill?
Sorry, what did you say? Link skill?
No, like Adele's cleave skill.
Oh, your cleave is their main attack, but you have something that has cleave in the name that just gives you IED just in the force job skill. That's why you probably have the IED that you currently have with your current setup already. It's nice. It's like a little bit of cheating, so you don't need to rely on it on your weapon secondary.
Oh, okay, I see. 35. Like, okay, I see.
Okay, so when it comes to the IED, well, I guess I can refresh. When it comes to it, basically what you do, and because of how I explained how it's calculated, right, it gets kind of complicated to know exactly how high you're going to get and how much percentage exactly something gives. So what you do after a while is you just put in all the sources that you have, and then it'll just tell you what the number is. And then this is the number that you can use as your functional ID. Like this is, regardless of what skill I use, regardless of what I hit, this is how much ID is going to come out reliably when I'm bossing. That's the important thing to know.
Okay.
Are you familiar?
When it's up.
What you said?
Try this out when it's up. Why does it say name and value? Do I just put my name there?
No, so if you want to add something, let's say that you have the Luminous Link level 320. Let's say you have level 2 instead. You can click it, it removes it.
Yeah, I have a level 2.
Then you can put like Lumi 2, and then it gives you 15. You add that.
Okay,
and now it gets added to the bottom here. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Legion 40, you don't have that. We click that, right? So this is one way that you can use. In the beginning, it's a good idea to use this to try to reconstruct how much ID you have right now, how much visual you have right now, so that you can make sure that you know all of your sources. So you have a good baseline understanding of where is all of my ID coming from. So you can use !ID to get access to the calculator and also get access to the list of sources. And if you go through these sources and you double check everything in the list, you should be able to perfectly get a number here that, if rounded up to the next percentage, gives you the exact same percent as... where's your shit? Oh, here. As what you have in your stat window, provided that you're looking at the same situation. If you have all of the active ones, right? All of the passive, all of the passive sources. And then when you know you're 100% equal there, and you know you're not missing out on anything, then you add the active sources, again, of which you don't have all that many. I guess I should put link skills here as well. And my eye is switching. Oh god, it's annoying. So then you add the additional sources, and then you get to what your functional number is, and then that number is the number that you use to check in the progression grid, like, am I good or not? And this is the number where, like, the 92, 93 is like, that's a good number for a while, but eventually you will go beyond that because of the access of sources that you have of everything, and now the opportunity cost comes back. Like, let's say that you are working on your familiars, and you can choose between, do I take a 30% ID or a 30% boss? Can you tell me right now what would be better for you, 30% ID or 30% boss?
I would say boss, to be honest. I'm kind of low on boss.
Without doing any calculation? Are you sure? Would you?
I have no idea.
Would you bet your firstborn on that? Why?
Man.
What I'm saying is, like, you can have an idea, but you can't really know for sure on what would be better for you. And the further you go, the more complicated it gets, and the more a calculator will basically have to help you out. You'll get a certain baseline understanding, but if you look at the percentages that are built here, they'll give you an idea. So, like, with these percentages in mind, I think at this point, a line of 30% IED, but that's, like, with your current situation, right? I would definitely, we'd redo the Legion board, we'd build out the Legion board, equip different link skills. We'll probably still get some, and we'll redo the hyperstats, right? But with all of that in mind, right, in your current situation, if we didn't change anything else, I am like 99% convinced that an ID familiar for you right now would do more than a bossing damage familiar in terms of your damage output. It won't look as good because your ID might only go up by 1% versus 30% in your boss damage. That might look way better, but your actual damage output is probably not gonna work as well. Hayato has inflated IED in normal stance, since normal stance gives 25%. He was saying bossing stance in the picture though.
I have every single buff and skill that I could have used. So I used all my buffs. I used HHS, Hitokiri Strike, my Roar, my AB Link.
Yeah. But he wasn't.
Used everything.
Yeah, he said he didn't have any hyperstats knockback resistance, and he was at 80%. So he must have been in a different Legion setup and in his bossing setup.
Well, had what?
Well, Hamtori is saying that your ID will look higher if you're in mobbing stance, because apparently you get ID from mobbing, which is from the mobbing pose, which is really stupid because you're never going to mob versus a boss. So he was making sure that if we are trying to reconstruct like your ID, that we take that into account, that you're in the right stance, and that we don't look at your current number and are like, oh, this is how good you are. Now we don't need to add much of anything else. We have to make sure that we're looking at the same thing, right? That we're not comparing apples and oranges. So that's what he was making sure of saying. So that's a good comment, but we did account for that. Give the mobbing stance the IED. Yeah, it's great. So these numbers, if you look at this, like this is gonna, and this is basically what in the back we've been doing the whole time. It's kind of like looking at these numbers and the balance between these numbers and using that to kind of gauge like where do we need to work on, where's the most room for improvement, right?
Yep.
So you see like going towards 250, going towards 6k Legion, so you're closing in on that. The amount of Star Force, the amount of IED. So it's fine to be a little bit higher on the IED because you don't have many passive sources. So even visually, you might be really close to this. If you're actually like at 94, 95 visual, that's probably fine. Again, it's better to calculate your functional and just make sure that you know you're at 95. That's more reliable. Total boss and regular damage bonus together at 400. You're over that, so that's fine. And crit rate, you're at 100%, but again, you have to make sure with the situations and how we're going to move the piece around. And eventually, we want to get you towards 40k stat. So that does mean that there's definitely some room for improvement there, right? So it definitely means that we're going to have to look at your equips when it comes to Star Force.
It's kind of weird looking at that graph. My arcane power is end game, then my stat is not end game. Legion is not end game as well.
You're at 1100, right?
But the level is end game though, sorta.
Well, arcane power is currently increased as well. This is the numbers without buffs. So you have guild buff and you have the Neo buff right now. Yeah. Those together is like 70 or 80 or something. So if you take that away, then you might not be as close. Same thing for Star Force. Your Star Force might look very high now, but you're also getting from those two quite a bit of Star Force, and that's not added in this. That's just how much Star Force is on your equips, right? Yeah. So, because we're actually already reached our time limit, so we're gonna start blowing through things, but all of the things so far making sense? Like what? So, let me ask you. So, if you're going back in the game, what are the first thing you're gonna do after this session?
Rearrange my hyperstat. Put more ID on it.
What's step one? What's step one?
Step one?
Because I didn't tell you like exactly what you're gonna do, right? I only gave you like vague guidelines because we're not in game right now. So what is step one with the hyperstats?
Hyperstats.
You just reset them.
Reset them.
And then look at your stat window, right? Just reset, look at your stat window, and then see what you have to do. Don't like start doing a bunch of stuff and then see that it's doing, and then you have to redo it again. First, just reset the points, see where you're at. Put decent sharp eyes in your grid, activate that part of your buffs, and then look at how much crit rate are you on, like without Hitakiri Strike, with Hitakiri Strike, and then look at where you're at with that. The next thing is going to be the knockback resistance, right? Want to make sure you get a 100% crit, and we want to get your knockback resistance at 100%. So that means probably level 5 in the hyper skills for knockback resistance, because I think it's 2% per level. And then a total of 10, and a total of, the other 10 will come from covering in your Legion grid. So 10% from both, so that when you're in bossing stance, you have 100%. So double check that that's right. Cool. Then you move on to the next thing. Do you still need more critical rate? You put your critical rate a little up in your hyper skills, but I don't think you will need to. So the next thing is like critical damage, IED damage, and boss damage in your hyper stat. You can just evenly level those up, and they'll probably all get to like... So this is when you're doing the bossing setup, right? So that'll all probably evenly go up to like... Probably all to 10, I think, if you're at 250. I'm guessing that you'll be able to do them all at 10. So that's if we're going to do the bossing stuff, right? So if you're doing mobbing, you start the same, but you kind of skip the knockback resistance if you care, right? Because if you care about the knockback, then you need to get, and you're mobbing, you need to get the Mihail Link skill. Because you're short 60%, and we're not going to get 60% off of your hyper skills in your Legion grid. That's just going to be horrible.
Oh, I have the Link skill. Let me go.
So we'll just use the Mihail Link skill. And then at that point, so if you're doing the mobbing setup, what is the priority then?
When I'm doing what, sorry?
If you're mobbing with the Hayato and you're looking at your hyper skills, what is priority number 1?
EXP?
Before that?
The...
Like in general. If you're super strong, it's not important. But what is in general importance number 1 always for all of your damage?
Crit damage?
Before that? Because what do you need to make crit damage work? Crit rate. Always crit rate first. Get it at 100%. Then, if you need damage, you go into crit damage. and then all the crit damage applies. If you're already super strong and you can get away with having that low, then what's the next priority? If you train, yes. If you train, yes.
Okay.
Very good. And then, and if you do need the damage, then what is the priority?
Crit rate.
And then next after that?
Crit damage.
And after that?
Like damage.
Yes. And after that?
And then EXP.
Then EXP. Yes, exactly. Good. Top marks. 10 out of 10. Good job.
Nice.
I want to make sure that you get, because I can't take you by the hand the whole way, right? So I have to make sure you get it all, so then you can do it all by yourself, right? So so that's with the skills, and that's like the connection right now, right, between the skills and the Legion board, and the stats, all of it together, working together, right? So when it comes to your to your link skills, we didn't talk about them specifically, but if you're mobbing, you're just going for all the things that you can have 100% uptime on, and that's always active. Again, if you don't need all the damage, you don't need all the crit rate, boom, go straight into the EXP ones, and then just round it out with whatever gives you the utility that you need. If for mobbing, you get knocked back a lot, and that's very annoying, throw the Mihal in there. If you're bossing, completely different priority, right? High percentages of damage, survivability, utility is in the survivability there, and it's going to be like the boss damage, the IED, that's going to be very important.
Okay.
That'll give you a sense of like what to do with once you log in, like how to optimize better.
Of course.
Okay, good. So with Legion, you can go very hard on where to put all of the pieces. If there's a little bit of bleed over here and there, it's not too bad because your grid isn't big, but once you start getting the bigger grid and then the whole grid, then it's going to be a good idea to optimize again. There is an optimization tool to help you build it if you want to.
Oh yeah, I think I know that one.
You seen that one with all the pieces and you put in which ones you have? Yeah, you color it in. Yeah, okay. So then you can use that one and then it'll just make the whole thing simpler. I like to do it manually because it's fun for me. And if you need to move stuff around, it's good to make sure that the stuff you can move around moves in one block without having bleed over too much. But again, that depends on how much you want to min-max it.
Yes.
And depends on how many presets you need, right? If you can do fine with 2 presets, then you don't need to move anything. So I have 1 mage preset and then 1 non-mage preset, and then within the non-mage, I typically move the boss damage into the bonus EXP if I'm training, and then back into boss damage when I'm bossing, and then that's all I move, basically. But your general idea is good, just a flat line through the middle, and connecting the opposite sides, like that's all fine. I think you'll do fine with building the Legion.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on it a lot.
Well, you've got a very solid foundation. Okay, so I see a big collection of Silent Crusader coins. Are you trying to... America's biggest hoarder or something?
I don't know. I never found a use for them.
Well, you can buy meso bags. Free money.
And those, don't they give like 100k meso?
100k, 500k, 1 mil, or 5 mil. It's roughly, on average, it's a little bit below 600k per bag. So you have enough here for almost 300 bags. So that's, oh god, maths, 1.8. That's like 180 mil.
Average.
Sitting, 180 mil on average, yeah, is sitting in there if you get the bags.
It's like 18 minutes of farming.
Yep.
It's alright,
It's more like 18 minutes of putting down a keyweight on your computer and going to the bathroom, but opening fucking bags, because the money you lose sitting there opening bags is almost not worth opening. But you do it for the memes. When you're just done and you're like, okay, fine. Watching anime, holding down the button while you're doing something else. But yeah, that's what I would do with them. And the rest is just backups for. I don't see. Oh, yeah, Galax coins. Okay. So do you have the full Galax set? The superior?
Galax set?
Yeah, superior Galax.
Let me check. I have what I have equipped. That's basically what I use.
You have an earring and a belt. I see, but you have a pendant in your inventory, right?
Dom pendant?
No, superior Galax pendant. This one? That's the green one, right? the superior?
Oh, it might be. Yeah, maybe.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
This is like the most important set in the game, okay? I'm gonna expect a little bit more enthusiasm from this one. This is the one that really gatekeeps you from being like normal bosses to like the hard bosses. Having the
Is it?
superior, yeah, because it's 30 boss and 30 IED and the 4 set bonus, and that is just a huge chunk of damage output. And the other thing is the ring, which that's the superior ring, right? You have all the pieces. We need to start getting that equipped, my dude. You're gonna get so much stronger. God, we're gonna make so much progress on this card. You're gonna be, dude. You're gonna be laughing at those 30% guys, and at your damage output, it's gonna go up so much. Trust me. Okay?
Oh.
With everything we already did, now we made sure that IED, the boss damage, crit rate, good damage. We made sure that all that stuff is good. So now we're gonna work on the equips. So when it comes to the equips, your current state of everything that you have is, okay. You're using Meso. You have full drop Meso set?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay. I'm gonna need to turn that
Should
up to
be
a
full.
no-so. So is that four lines of drop, 5 lines of Meso?
4 lines of drop, 5 lines. Doesn't it only Meso go up like 100%?
Yeah. So 20% per line, 5 lines.
Oh yeah.
And then we
true.
fill the rest with drop rate. Okay, so I see
That's
Meso and drop on the
20%, yeah.
pendant, and 1 drop, 2 Meso on the rings, and then a ring and a... I think we're a little bit over on the drop. Right now you have 4 drop, 3 Meso. Do you have a
4
drop
Meso?
rate? I don't think you have... Let's see.
Oh, true. I might not have 5 Meso
You don't have the
because I'm
face
always
accessory?
using Huh?
You don't have the face accessory with... This might be also one of the reasons why you're still really strong and able to kill the monsters quickly, but you're not really getting the rates that you want. Because you might be using some damaging gear that could... Should is very strong here, but like maybe at this point, if you're that strong anyway, should be drop gear instead, so you can just get more cards, get more nodes, get more droplets, right? All that stuff.
Now I'm confused. What do you mean, like I don't have a face?
So you have 9 accessories in total that can get drop rate or Meso obtain, right? So the 4 rings, the 2 pendants, the eye and the face accessory, and the earrings. Those 9 equips.
Okay.
So you can get 100% from Meso obtain, like you said, from your equips. So that's 5 lines of 20%. And then you have 4 accessories left, and then typically we get drop rate on those 4. So that you can maximize the amount of drop rate, or not maximizing would be like getting double lines and everything, but that's super expensive, so we don't really do that early on. So you want to get those 9 accessories that are dedicated to drop or Meso. Ideally, all of them have drop or Meso and then a line of strength with it, ideally, or a line of all stats, so they also add a little bit of damage, all of them, right? Because 9 equips, all of them have 9%, now you have 81% more strength helping you. So like the Con of Treasure is perfect, right? Okay, Meso obtain, 2 lines of strength, amazing, cool, that one's done. Reboot Cosmos Ring, Meso obtain, 9% strength, amazing, cool. So what you're missing right now in this set, so I see 7 equips, so there's 2 pieces that you're missing. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah. So the would be the face accessory. You don't have a drop rate face accessory, I think. At least not in pictures here.
Drop
So
face accessory.
Yeah. So a face accessory, you don't have one.
I'm pretty sure I do. I should have it. I may not have taken a picture of it by accident. Because the other day I disassembled my Apso helmet by accident, so I might have disassembled that as well.
Okay, well that's not a great thing.
Well, yeah, you see at bottom. So wait, it's kind of delayed. So where you see all my inventory equips, there is 2 Zakum accessories. They're both item drop gear.
Right. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I see it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You use that one.
So yeah.
And it has drop rate or Meso obtain?
Item. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Item drop rate. Yeah. Okay. And then the last one that we would need. Wait, what's the last piece? Oh, an earring. Do you have an earring with drop rate?
Earring. No, I think that's Meso.
I think
my earring's Meso.
Oh wait, did I?
I'm pretty sure is that I took a picture of it.
Meso and nuts. Okay, I may be losing it, but I don't see your earring. Maybe that's one picture that got lost that had those 2 in it. That's possible. Because these are pendants. Yeah, no, I don't see picture. Okay, so if between, you just want to make sure that the total amount is 5 lines of mezzo, 4 lines of drop between those 9 items. So if you have any items, I think you have more drop rate right now.
Is it worth though? Because I always use a Pendant of the Spirit when I'm farming. Never mezzo. Because I don't even have 5 items that have mezzo obtained. Just because I'm using Pendant of the Spirit all the time.
Right, but if you use Pendant of the Spirit, you replace it with the Greed Pendant, probably, right? Because that brings the least damage for you.
Probably.
So then we go for 5 mezzo and 3 drop then. That's also fine.
Yeah.
But then so the mezzo pendant here. So then you only have like 3 lines of drop. But right now you have the Synergy Ring has drop. And the Vengeful Ring has drop. And the Aquatic Letter Eye accessory has drop. And if what you said, your face accessory, if that one also has drop, then you have 1 too many with drop. And that you ideally want to switch that for mezzo instead to get more money when you're training. So if you do have more than 3 drop and you don't have your 5 mezzo, then check any item that has drop but doesn't have mezzo. So in this case, it could be your Vengeful Reboot Ring, and then reroll that one because you'll be losing out on the least and possibly gaining the most.
Or reroll Reboot Vengeful Ring to mezzo?
Yeah, but make sure that you don't have already 5 of mezzo, right? Because if you're misremembering right now, then that could...
I don't.
You don't? Okay, yeah. So then I'd probably reroll the Reboot Vengeful, yeah.
Yeah.
For mezzo, and then hopefully mezzo plus a line of strength. That would be ideal.
Yeah, because I have a familiar, so I don't need that much item jugger for farming, yeah.
Exactly, and Holy Symbol also helps, so you'll be fine. You'll get a bag from every monster, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, mezzo, okay. So that takes care of the mezzo drop. And then this is your damaging setup, right? When you're bossing?
My damaging, which I'm equipped, that's my bossing, yeah.
Yeah, so we want to change this to make it so that you use the Superior Ring instead of the Silver Blessing one.
Yep.
And that you use the Superior Pendant instead of the Dominator one.
Superior Pendant instead of the Dominator.
So
okay.
Yeah, because then with the E-Ring and with the belt, you'll get your 4-set bonus and boom, 30 boss, 30 IED extra. And those 2 items that we just mentioned as well will all be able to get Star Force up to 17 as well, other than these 2, which are stuck at 10 and 15. Which almost seems like the position when you're driving. And they'll be able to get potential beyond that as well.
It gives that much, okay. I don't know.
Very damaging. Because the set bonus for Superior, that's where it's all going to be at. And that extra IED is going to be really good for you to get you into the realm of like close to 95 where you want to be without needing to do a whole lot of other stuff. You won't need to like redo your weapon secondary emblem or, you know, go like crazy on ID familiars or something. Just activating the Superior Galax set will help you there. Yeah. So when it comes to upgrading them to 17, what you can use is the scrolls if you want to in the event shop right now, so that you don't have to risk booming them.
I want to do them 22 star immediately like that, because I got my 22 belt. It's not in the photo, it's 21 stars. But I actually tapped it to 22. So maybe I just want to do everything to 21.
So to be like the annoying voice of reason, everyone wants that. Very few people get that. So when it comes to like order of upgrading stuff, I get that, and you don't want to have to like redo your potential. If you want to do that, so if that's your goal, I would save up a lot of extra reinforced earrings and get that one to 21, transfer, and then try to get it to 22 on the Superior Ring.
Hard.
And when it comes to the rings, you need to either make a whole bunch of like Meisters or your Kana treasures and get that one high Star Force transfer over into it. That's going to be the way to go. Those traces, are those reinforced or?
My what?
You have 2 traces for Galax earrings, which...
those are reinforced. The boom those.
Remember, if you boom 1, you can transfer the trace and you start at 12 stars on the next one.
Oh yeah, I don't know why that happened. Maybe I was tired, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Something went up, yeah. Because I don't want you to bite off too much more than you can chew, or like try to run before you can walk, because there's still, like what we talked about, like there's a lot of stat missing, right, compared to like where you want to be, and a lot of that is going to come from the combination of Star Forcing and just equipping the actual items that you should be having. If you try, I think, go to 20 or 21 or 22 too fast, you might end up getting to the point where you have everything at 21 or 22 slower than if you tried to rush there too fast. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because in the way, yeah, because of how you make money and how you progress, and then when you can spend it, and because for a certain amount of things you're gonna need backups, so you're gonna need to give yourself some time for backups. The belt is super easy because you can just get pink bean belts out the nose, get very high star force, and transfer over. Right, it's really easy. But for rings, you need to get primal essences, you need to get Kana drops, you're gonna need a lot of Galax coins if you want to start like min-maxing with the reinforced and the superior. If you want to go high star force superior pendant, you're gonna need a bunch of dominator pendants, which those don't come falling from the sky. Those are pretty rare, right? So I think it's good to just move into 17 everything first, and you can either stick to like unique potential, or maybe just get legendary with 1 or 1.5 useful line or something, and then just save up. And then based on which backups you get the most of, then you can be like, okay, I've got like 12 Kana treasure rings. I'm gonna try to go like for 22 so I can transfer into the superior Galax, and if I get it, then I'll work on the 21 superior Galax, right? Or I have like 18 dominator pendants, now I'm gonna go for dominator pendants. But right now, like the amount of dineros you have, the amount of Kana rings you have, the amount of Galax coins you have, everything is like at the same point, and nothing really sticks out like this is an easy 100% upgrade. The only thing that I would say is like the one that you can easily go for in the beginning is the belt, but you already did that one. So just because the belt can get to 22 or to 21, like it's 22 now, doesn't mean that everything else can do it at the same pace, right? So you want to make sure that you spend your money wisely in that way, that you spend it where it can be spent.
True.
So just switching to 17-star Superior Galax, I would move into that, and then go by the, go transfer over into it if you want to, or use the Star Force scrolls if you want. But just equipping those sets, even if your range goes down a little bit, your damage output is going to go up by a lot because of the boss damage that you already said that you were lacking a little bit, and because of the extra IED that you'll be getting from the set bonus. That's going to be like the most huge thing that you can do for bossing. For mobbing, you still have your regular setup, right, that we talked about. And then the other thing that I would tell you, like, this is where you can go for 20, 21, 22 if you really want to, if you want to spend a lot of money. Because where, like I just talked about, where you would do that is where you have the most backups, right? So which pieces come to mind immediately?
Maybe my probably rings. I got a lot of rings, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
No,
what do you have even more of than anything, even than you had belts?
Let me see.
It's in your use inventory typically, which is weird for equips. Inventory? Yeah, but it gives you equip backups.
Talking about superior right now.
What about
superior?
CRA pieces?
CRA pieces, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How many backups do you have of those?
True, I got loads.
Loads, yeah. So
you
don't care if anything booms there, right? You just full send those things, exactly. So whenever if you're, you got a trigger finger, you want to upgrade something, and there's a 5, 10, 15, you could just go hard on CRA. Like, worst case scenario, you go back to a 17-star or whatever, right? But in general for upgrading, I would say just go 1 star at a time. Like, try to get them all to 18. If that works, get them all to 19. If one booms, you just bring it back up. And then you can guarantee yourself that you will always upgrade with the money. And because if you get unlucky with one item, you could end up spending everything and not getting anywhere. Versus the other situation, if you get unlucky with one item, it's the only scenario is if that's your very first item and you can't get a single star. Otherwise, you will always have something to show for an upgrade event. Yeah.
I'm kind of broke though right now. The money I have in my account, there's a picture of it in my equip. That's the whole money I have.
That's all of it, yeah. So I would say combination of doing the boss weeklies, like I said, right? But then that in combination with the setup, switching the setup, plus switching the hyperstats, the link skills, the legion, everything we talked about, that's going to make you a lot stronger when you're bossing. So that's going to help you do the weekly bosses a lot faster. And if you combine that with when you're mobbing, your rate's going up, hopefully being able to kill in other areas. But if you combine that with going into the Superior Galax set and then that increasing your boss damage and your IED, it's going to make weekly bosses way, way, way shorter, and it's going to make you feel like you get a lot more in less time. And you will. You will be getting a lot more in less time.
Okay.
So were you using the Absolab hat and the fake arcane weapon?
No. The Absolab hat was 0. It was plain. I bought it like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
The CR rate you see in bottom left, it's
Mhm.
15 stars for some reason.
Okay. Well, if you have the current setup, there's no real need to go into the Abzo hat because you want to get the 5 set bonus from Abzo and the 3 set bonus from CRA. That's better than having the 2 set from CRA and the 6 set from Abzo.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was looking for.
yeah, so some people will go for the Abzo hat, but that's because they're using the fake arcane weapon. If it's like, I don't see a picture of it here, but if, let's say you get like an insane flame on it or something, right? Then for some people will be like, okay, I need to get the Abzo Lab hat and then make the set fix to keep the 5 set bonus. And then the 5 set Abzo is, plus the arcane is better than with the 2 set CRA, is better than the 3 set CRA and the 4 set Abzo with the arcane weapon. But in your current situation, like, don't worry about the Abzo hat, because once you go into full arcane, and that's going to be the next big step, right? We're keeping our Abzo at 17, keeping it at a 2-line legendary, like that's all fine. And let me look at your. Let me see. Oh my God, there's already your IED. The IED on the weapon is eventually something we want to replace, but right now is not something we're gonna do. But like once your Legion is really big, you can fill the 40% block in your Legion. Right? Once you have the superior Galax set, that combining, and once all the other sources of IED that you're slowly moving into, once all of those get fixed, then we'll be able to redo that secondary and go for full damage there. But until then, this one is perfect to make sure that you don't need those other ones immediately. So it's like it's like postponing the problem a little bit. Yeah, weapon is fine. Yeah, so we keep like Star Force wise, just keep everything the same. If you want to go hard on the on the CRA 3 pieces.
Yeah.
And the Abzo is just gonna stay right where it is. That's just fine. So the next move is going to be to move into full arcane gear, right? So how's your droplets coming?
I think you have the picture of it. I probably didn't include them.
Yeah, I see the lucid droplets, but not the actual river ones.
Oh, my lucid. Yeah, that's all of them. I think I have like 300 droplets.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Well, we can exchange now, right? So you can just throw them onto one pile.
yeah, like 250 of arcane,
Mm-hmm.
250 of something else. What are they called?
With 300 in total?
Yeah. Only.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really good. Like that's almost halfway to a full set, right? Like full set is 680, I believe. And did you already buy out from this event?
No.
Okay. I would try to buy out the ones. Oh, and this is another reason why you need to do your weekly bosses, is because you want to get the Neo cores, right?
Yeah.
With those Neo cores, you can buy more droplets. So I would buy out the Neo core droplets as much as you can. You can skip the ones for Mezzo right now. No need to.
Okay.
It's better to save your money and then just wait for the winter event. Winter event from KMS had 800 that you can buy. So all the money you have then, you can spend it on droplets as much as you want to buy the whole set or to buy backups, whatever you want. By then, you'll have lucid droplets and will droplets that you can use to make the items. But now you're just going to buy a bunch of droplets for Mezzo, and you don't have that much Mezzo right now, and it's just going to be a bunch of money that's just locked in your account, not being able to work for you, right? You want your money to work for you, just the same way that you want your hyperstats and your link skills and your Legion to work for you.
Yeah, winter's far away.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
By then, you'll be able to buy like the full set and work on it, but until then, it's going to be just too much. So let's find a leave it where it is. Right. Is there any piece of equipment? Are you working on the 7-day Monster Parker badge? Medal, sorry.
I did bring a Monster Parker card in total.
It's a good one to work on because you can always buy the potions to speed up your attack and extra EXP, right? The gold potions that we were talking about. And remember, you're gonna need the experience coupons from there if all of your Legion coins are gonna go towards upgrading. So make sure Saturday and Sunday definitely that you max out on those.
Oh yeah, do those last minute.
Yeah, last minute.
Sometimes I get reminders by Smegas.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Other than that, are there any equips where you're wondering where to go next with that?
What should I do with my hat though? It's at skill cooldown -2, which is good for farming, but like I'm missing some stat I could put in. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I should just roll for some.
Like, as long as you don't need, like, we have a lot of other stuff to already work on, right? You'll get a lot stronger in the other situations. If the problem really, I don't think the problem is ever going to be like, I'm missing 9% stat on my hat, and that makes me not able to do something. It's going to be like a combination of, oh, you just need to work on the Star Force in general of your CRA. You need to just get that to 20 or to 21. Or, you know, the Superior Galax set needs to be potentialed further. Because the potential lines on your CRA gear, there's just so much junk in there. And a lot of the times you're going to get something that you can't... that you just can't use at all. You know, like the all skills level +3 and the 5%, right? So there's a lot of other items that you want to focus on first and make better potential. And most of that is going to be on your accessories first. Those are going to be very higher priority. So when it comes to the CRA stuff, priority there is star forcing because you have backups. When it comes to potential, that's going to be accessories because they have low amount of junk lines. So, and in the worst case scenario, if you do get to the potential of your hat, you're going to be using black cubes probably to try to go for double line cooldown to get even more mobbing potential out of it, right? And if you don't hit what you want, you can always just keep the current potential, so you don't really lose that much.
Okay. And what about Oz? Should I just continue doing Oz for Roar 4? Just pray to the gods?
I mean, that's something that's like really just up to you. I think there's some baseline stuff that might be more important for building your account right now. And once you have that up to a certain level, like you have enough Dineros, you know, you make sure there's enough time in the day to do things like Monster Park and Normal Arc and like these more important bosses and your weekly bosses, and you still have time left over, do all the Oz you want. Like, if Oz is fun for you and you just enjoy doing that content, then I'm not going to tell you not to do that. Like, you should be doing what you enjoy. Yeah. No, do what you enjoy. Because otherwise the whole game is going to stop being fun, and then you're just not going to want to play anymore. So I would say an ROR3 is already really good. But an ROR4 could be 1 box away, or it could be a million boxes away. So, yeah. I think, though, that they're reworking the boxes, so it's probably a good idea to keep the boxes closed if you have them, and then open them after the rework, I think.
Yeah, I saw the rework. It's
mostly for stat rings, right? Yeah.
So it's 1% chance maybe to get a Roar 4 after the patch.
Nice. And now?
Now it's like 0.5.
Yeah, okay, well, let's keep those boxes closed. Double chances. Easy clap.
Wow. Pretty big increase.
Yeah, that's pretty significant, especially with something that's already that rare.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Let's see.
Because we talked about a lot of experience stuff, right? So the other thing, so we talked about the coupons, the Legion board that's going to get bigger, so that's going to be more experience, the Zero, the Hyperstats, and then I guess the last one is like the WOPs and the EOPs. Do you make those and train with those?
Yeah. I may use both of those.
Yep, that's a lot of extra experience as well. Okay. And the level 3 links will help a little bit as well, like the Aaron and Evan, right? The runes will last a little bit longer and a little bit more from the orbs. That'll add up as well. If you do get those.
Not that much, though.
No, not that much, but at this point, every little bit helps. Oh yeah, and the character building node as well, yeah. All of those things together do work a little bit. And also, sometimes some people will say their rates with MVPs. That's also kind of cheating. So make sure you don't compare yourself to people who are kind of like big flexing, or people who are doing like a 10-minute test and then multiplying it by 6 versus doing a whole hour test, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people lie to themselves and be like, oh, this is how much I get, just so they can share that number, but they reach that number one time when everything was perfect, and they can never ever reach that number again, you know?
I'm in UK, you know, just big ping.
Yeah.
That's an issue as well.
I know that feeling. Huge ping.
Yeah.
How's it going over there, by the way?
UK?
Yeah, I heard the corona cases and stuff was picking up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it started all over again. I think it's like 40k cases per day now again. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing, but sheesh.
But it's not it's not good.
Oh, no. Just everyone going out to lakes or some beaches.
You had the most daily cases of any country in the world, even more than the US, India, Indonesia, and Brazil. Damn.
UK, British people are just mad. They're mad. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
There's something else.
Something else in it.
Something is in it, yeah. Gonna get a bow again.
Yeah, bro.
That's the word.
Yeah, I'm at
Wha-
like I think I'm around 200 ping. Yeah.
200. How do you
Yeah.
check that?
Exclamation mark ping in the chat. There's a way to see it in your task manager on what your ping is to a process that's running right now. So if you check the right port, you can
What is
find it
Control Shift Escape?
on your keyboard. Control Shift Escape.
Okay. Yeah, Task Manager. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Performance. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Tab click Resource Manager. What?
Resource monitor. It's like
Oh,
an icon.
Open Resource Manager. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Network tab. Okay. TCP/IP. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For MapleStory.x. It's not open though.
Well, so you can't check right now.
Ah.
But if it
Okay.
opens up and you already have this screen open, it'll pop up there as one of the processes. It should be port 8585. It can be another one as well. If it's a stable ping that doesn't change at all, then it's the wrong one. There will be another one that fluctuates a little bit, right? Like every second it'll update. And whatever ping is there, that's like roughly your ping.
That's probably gonna be like 600 ping. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
That's shish. It's not good.
Yeah, it's like usually like between 170 and like 210 or something. So like 180, high 180s, close to 190 is usually where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna boss. If I'm doing like good big bosses like Black Mage or something. The ping gets to me. Like I can't switch sides with Surging Blade and all those skills quickly enough, and I just die. And it's really annoying.
It's going to be a matter of practicing and seeing what gets punished and what doesn't get punished as much, and then playing it safe in certain scenarios for certain bosses. Some things you will get away with, and some things you won't.
Yeah, just gotta pray for a good channel. That's all.
Yeah, that's a yeah. Oh,
Oh,
man, I hope they figure out the whole channel thing. Like they're trying a lot of stuff now. I hope they start fixing, like finding what the fix is, because it's so dog shit right now.
I think try and fix like channel 4 and 5.
Yeah, they tried like a bunch of different fixes on different channels to see how it responded, but I heard a few channels got actually worse than before. So.
I think channel 4 got really bad.
And 6 wasn't that bad either, but then I hope they figure it out soon.
Nah, we'll see. Hopefully though.
We hope for it.
64-bit,
Yeah,
we're gonna fix it.
yeah. We hope that that's gonna. Yep. Copium. Surely the game will be fixed. 64-bit will save the game. All right, dude. Anything else? Any big questions that you still had?
Man, no questions.
You wanna say hi to Hamtorio in the chat?
Is he here? Hamtoru? Hello?
Just throw it out there, man. He'll see it.
Might see this later.
Yeah.
Love you,
Hope
Hamtoru.
he sees
I love
this.
you,
It's like
Nah,
the hope
it's
she
fine.
sees this meme, but. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Got no questions left.
Okay. Well, I'll upload it to YouTube so you can watch back. If you still have specific questions afterwards, just swing by the chat, ask me, and we'll get into it. But yeah, I think re-optimization, all of the big 3 things like link skills, hypersets, Legion board, that's gonna bring a huge, solid foundation to you, and I think a little bit more of the EXP, and that'll help you get your rates up as well.
Okay.
Wish him luck on his exam. Wait, you have an exam?
Next exam? Okay. Good luck. He's got an exam, that's why he's gone, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Alright, cheers for everything, homie.
Yep.
Wait. Okay.
Okay.
Cheers, Scardor.
Yo, see you. Bye-bye.
Alright, peace, love.
All right, a little bit longer session again, but we had to go over some basics reapplying. So this is very normal. This happens. You're like, okay, I looked up this stuff. The guide says this, so I just put in those numbers, and I'm just gonna train. But what ends up happening is that the small levels of inefficiency start building up, and then at a certain point, they get to the point where like I feel like I'm not really reaching my potential. I don't think I'm really doing the damage that I can, and I don't feel like I'm really getting the rates that I can. And then reassessing, like we just did, in a big way, of course, reassessing where all of your points are going, and making sure that all of the hard work you've put into your account in the forms of working on your Legion, working on your links, building out your Legion grid, leveling your character, making sure, like, min-maxing and optimizing seems like a dirty word where it's like, oh, I don't want to be like a sweaty gamer nerd. But if you don't do that, you're essentially kind of shooting yourself in the foot because you're not getting as much back as you actually put into the game. The game is basically giving you X back for how much work you put in, but you're only taking like X over 2 out of it by not, and I'm not saying like min-maxing it to the bone, but at least slightly optimizing it a bit more than this. A bit more than this. This like mirrored E or something. Is it like a bow? It's kind of like it looks kind of like a bow or something. Because level up your legion, fill out your grid, put in all the pieces in the right spot, and then the further you get, the more you have access to things, the more you want to look at the opportunity cost between putting things here, putting things there. Like having 2 IED next to 13% damage, that can't be optimal. There has to be like a better way. You take 2 points out of damage, you can probably put 9 points into ignore defense or something, and then your final damage will just go up by more. But understanding how IED works, understanding how PDR works, and understanding how the final damage penalty works from that will give you the insight that you need to be like, oh, wait a minute. That's just way more efficient. But if you don't look that up, or if nobody tells you, then how are you supposed to know that that's exactly where you need to be looking, right? So, if this was a good session for you, if you learned something, I'm very glad. Make sure that you pick those things up and apply them to your own account. If you want one of these sessions for yourself, check the description of the video. If you want to join the EU Reboot or the NA Reboot guilds as well, there's a link for a sign-up sheet for that as well. And if you have information for me in the form of battle analysis, monster skill per hour, or training videos into Never or higher, check out !contribute in the chat, or click the link in the description of the video, and you can submit all of the data there for me to use and to help the community get the correct information of how the game's going right now and how the classes are vying against each other. So thank you very much for watching.